The following program is a collection of stooges talking about happenings in the sports world. It is meant to be comedic informative. The opinions expressed on this show do not necessarily reflect the beliefs of their peers, their boss, or ESPN. There may be some cuss words because that's how humans in the real world talk. If you are young, please seek permission before watching any further.
Hey.
Why?
Let's go!
This show stinks, and the fact that you listen, we are very, very thankful for.
Ah!
The all-time leading tackler for the Green Bay Packers,
You pig! Stop! Damn it!
Be a friend, tell a friend something nice could change their life.
We walk out! Sport!
Hello, beautiful people, and welcome to our humble abode, the Thunderdome, on this Overreaction Monday, June 10th, 2024. This program starts now. Sports are the greatest thing on earth, and we're lucky to talk about them every single day. And right now, there's two final series taking place. One in the NBA where the Celtics hold a commanding 2-0 lead over the Dallas Mavericks. Big win on Thursday to start the series, then a big win yesterday. It appears as if all signs are pointing to the Celtics being absolutely dominant through this whole thing, but will they be able to maintain whenever they get down to Dallas? Is Tatum good enough to be on a team that wins a championship? We'll talk about all that and more with Steven Jackson, 14-year NBA vet, who will join us in about 15 minutes or so, also host of All the Smoke podcast. And then in the NHL, the Panthers of South Florida up 1-0 over the Edmonton Oilers. Game 2 of that series is this evening at 8 p.m. on ABC. We'll be talking to PK Subban in the second hour to get his thoughts on it all. What a wagon this Florida Panthers team has become. Will the glitz and the glamour and the star power of McDavid and Draisaitl and the boys be able to even this thing up? Or will the Florida Panthers be too damn much after losing last year? Is this the year they're able to lift Florida? We shall see. There's a lot of stuff happening all around the sports world. We'll talk about it all. The talk today was here at Boston Connor, at Ty Schmidt. God bless America.
God bless America. Yeah, I don't know. This thing just came together. And then the We the People hat was just staring me in the face, kind of talked to me like the Green Goblin mask. And I said, you know what, I'll just put on the We the People hat too.
Yeah, shout out to what you got going on this glorious Overreaction Monday. Ty Schmidt, big news in Iowa. Pat Anger will be calling Iowa Hawkeyes football games. That was announced literally this morning.
Yeah.
Congrats to you guys.
Yeah, absolutely love it.
And congrats to Pat Anger. I'm pumped to hear that.
Yeah, super jacked up because a lot of people actually still listen to the radio broadcasts of the Iowa games because, you know, you never know which announcers you're getting when the Iowa's playing at
and also a lot of olds.
A lot of olds as well. Ed Podolak had been doing it for like 43 years, and I had honestly didn't hear anything about this, like would have never guessed that this is coming, but this is awesome. I love Pat Anger. Most people who know or have watched or have listened to Pat Anger love him as well. So, yeah, I'm even more excited for Iowa's football season now, knowing that he's going to be in the booth. It's
Good
amazing.
luck in there, Pat. Proud of you, buddy. One half of the hammer,
Dahn.
Cowboys, Tone Diggs here. I haven't seen you in a few days, Tone. You weren't able to come down to North Carolina because you were our emergency plan going live for here for 2 hours if the stage and everything didn't work, which it did. Shout out to Zito and Tim McAfee. All the incredibly hard work. Way to go. Way to go. That was awesome down there to see the people, feel the people. It was hot. You missed a good time. That TSD is pretty awesome.
Yeah.
The tournament was awesome. Thankfully, everything worked. Being the designated survivor, you guys didn't have to watch a man's career slowly crumble live on television. If you guys,
Are you talking about me?
No, me.
Oh, I thought
No, me. If you guys couldn't go live and I had to do this sitting here, there's a few people in this universe who could do a sports live television program by themselves. I am not one of them, so I appreciate you guys. That it did look awesome though. Like just watching on ESPN Plus, following all the games, like you could actually kind of feel the passion coming through the TV. And it's a cool style of soccer to watch. It was awesome.
Yeah, it's smaller fields, less people, more goals, exciting. This target score time, which every game ends with, is electrifying.
Genius.
It is literally two different games. It's the first game is to get to this time, which is the target score time. And then if you have Arena League guys on your team, the target score time is whenever it is time for the Arena League boys to do their thing. We are very lucky to have a great crew. These 5 dudes out of Arena League were nothing short of electrifying. Obviously, Big Meat was one of the stars. There he is right there. Yep. Ice in his veins, obviously. Grella right behind him, MLS legend with the entire squad. Breck Shea, Jeff Cameron. But these Arena League boys, and I don't know how else to describe this, our team chemistry was as if we had been a team for 10 years.
Hell yeah.
We even had a fight in the middle of that entire thing, and still were able to get through it on the other side and win a game the next morning. I mean, it was absurd. There's Mario right there. He's one of the Arena League boys up in the front. Then Huff, and then obviously you'll see Tommy Sonner, Ryan Cockedy out of Pittsburgh. Zach right there. He's the golden boot for the Arena League with the blonde hair. Big meats, Brandon thing. Little guy right here is wiping his ass. That's Gordo. That is Gordy. Gordy is a weapon. Gordy is the stories about Gordy are never ending. But these dudes were smoking 5-6 cigars a night.
Jeez,
Until about 2:30, 2:33. I happen to be out there with the boys, try to learn a little bit about their lives. These dudes are indie wrestlers, but for soccer, okay? They just travel around playing soccer. Cash games, cash league, cash tournaments, and they just bop from one to the next. And then when the Arena League starts, they go to their towns in which they work and play for, live in an apartment there, play their games, and off-season comes, boom, we're right back to cash games, cash leagues, cash tournaments. They have zero responsibilities.
Yeah.
They know that. They are an awesome bunch, as is the rest of the team. I like to say thanks to the entire Concave boys. That was a fun run, man. That was a really fun run. Obviously, we make it to the Elite Eight. We had a lot of olds like myself. Maz, who was on the team,
Big
turned
Maz.
into a coach. His foot somehow got worse as we got down there, and he was doing less work. I don't know how that happened. He was battling. He left in a boot. He showed up walking, left in a boot, so we hope Maz is okay. Myself, I got injured. Obviously, Jeff Cameron tore his MCL. Okay? Knew he was going to tear his MCL, but still scored a goal for our team. So, that is incredible. Wasn't able to hit a ball with the inside of his right foot. Had surgery 8 weeks ago on his MCL. Knew he wouldn't be able to kick a ball with the inside of his right foot. So, he was just kicking balls with the outside of his right foot the entire time, kind of like swinging his leg like this, or kicking with his left foot. In the same game he tore his MCL, he actually wrapped his what's that? What's the behind the leg? Cruyffing it so he didn't kick it with the inside of his right leg. Then Zot, guy who played 10 years in the Premier League, 44 years old, played all 40 minutes for us a couple different times. 6'7", this guy. Has proper English accent too. I mean, he's in there. He plays the ball into Jeff Cameron, and Jeff literally has to think to himself, only way I can hit this is with the inside of my right. I'm going to tear my MCL. Scores a goal, hits the ground immediately, tears his MCL. I mean, that is concave for football. So from him and Mike Foss, the amount of work that Mike Foss did to put this entire thing together. Great work, Fosso. Fosso is balancing and spinning a lot of plates. He was spinning a lot of plates. He did a fantastic job. I think the boys had fun, but we could have stole a win against that Hoosier Army team. It was very good. Very, very good. They beat us pretty soundly throughout that entire game. But when it gets to target score time, as long as it's within 1 or 2, you have a shot if you've got a bunch of Arena League boys, and we did that. So thanks to everybody at Concave for the weekend. Thanks to TST. That was a blast, obviously. Cary, North Carolina was a beautiful place. Hot as balls.
It was a little hot.
Very hot. This hip flexor definitely torn. I mean, I'm dragging it around right now. I was asked to go play in a celebrity soccer game in L.A. or something like that next weekend. It's you catch me in 8 months.
Sure.
8, 9 months or so. On this free kick, no, not this one. This is the first one. Field a little bit. So I was on the bench. I hadn't really we're 15 minutes into that game. I'd been on the bench. That was a big win. We needed that win to get in. So I go out there as soon as we get a free kick in the plus area. Pat, here we go. So I just been standing there. So I ripped that first one, a little high. Tough to go up and over. Got to keep those things low. We know that for next year with how short the thing is. I stay on the field. I was about to sub myself off, though, because I did feel a little wakey in the hip flexor quad area. So I was like, I'm going to get out of here. And they're like, no, stay. It's all right. So I make a couple plays, feeling pretty good. We get another foul. All of a sudden, it's like, here we go. And I'm sitting there, and I just see top right 90. I'm like, yep. I'm going to hit that. This is going to be awesome. Had the highlight of the pass to Grella yesterday. This thing's going to smoke that up. And then I'm walking right off this field, and that's it for the entire thing. Mid-stroke, literally middle of kicking that thing, I feel like a slingshot slapping me right in the thing. Boom! Feels like bang! Ball goes out of the stadium. So I missed the net by 60 yards, tear my hip flexor, and then I called it a day. That was when I jogged right off the field. And by jog, I was dragging myself. As soon as I get to the sideline, because getting off the field is a big deal. Getting off the field is a big deal. Zach comes up to me and goes, hey, you jog off in proper fashion, okay? We need to get a guy home. I'm like, Zach, I appreciate what you're saying to me. I respect what you're saying. Thank you for your leadership in caring. I can't jog right now. And I think we're going to find out over the next couple of days, I'm not going to be able to jog for a while. So I appreciate you, but it was fun. It was a blast, and I'm really proud of the boys. I'm really proud of the team, and I enjoyed it all. Joining us, 9-year NFL vet, a man who's following along from afar, did not get a chance to experience the Cary, North Carolina Heat, but certainly is about to experience maybe a Stanley Cup run.
Whoa.
Ladies and gentlemen, Darius J. Butler. D-Butch, you were watching soccer this weekend. A lot of people were texting me that was the first time they'd followed along with the soccer team. Yeah. Our team was electrifying, too.
It was, and it was a great brand of soccer, too. I know the game, the great, beautiful game has been around for a long time, but you mentioned that target score. That's a game changer.
Yes.
It's almost 2 games. You're waiting just to get to a point, and obviously anything can happen. But it was great to watch you guys, obviously the camaraderie, what was going on, not only with your team, but even the other teams. It was another pro, I forget his name, but he said, this is the greatest team I've ever been a part of.
He's in the finals tonight.
He said it's the greatest team he's ever been a part of, but it was great vibes watching. Obviously, my Panthers, huge win in game 1. Bob absolutely standing on his head, 32 saves, shutout in the Stanley Cup final. So, Oilers, obviously they got some weapons. It was a we got some people saying we got outplayed, even though we got a 3-0 win at home. Got another big one tonight, so I'm excited about that.
32 saves for Bob is a real weapon for you guys. And you guys had the advantage going in and everybody's eyes at the goalie position. But in the finals, Stanley Cup finals, if your goalie stands on your head, you can win.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that is literally how it goes for every team that inevitably wins. 32 saves, shutout, game 1, Stanley Cup finals. The Panthers got to be flying high. Now, the Oilers, though, have answered every single time this year, seemingly. Are they going to be able to do it against this Florida Panthers size and speed and grit? That is the big question mark going into 8 o'clock tonight.
Yeah, for sure. I think there was a stat that came through the group that was after the Oilers get shut out, what their record is. I believe they're 3-0. They've scored like 5 goals, 8 goals, and then 4 goals again. I did see Evander Kane give Chucky a little left hook coming off the ice. I don't know if that's the game you want to play with the Panthers, especially when Bob is doing this type of stuff. I mean, rolling over on his back. What is this, little butterfly save? Are you kidding me? But no, it's going to be a great series. I still hope we get one of those McDavid games, though, where he has like 8 assists in 15 shots and shows everybody why people call him McJesus, even though, might not love that nickname.
I think it might get loud what if they don't win? What is year 9 for McJesus?
They're comparing him to LeBron right now as far as his career tracking goes with.
He unfollowed Perkins?
Oh, I hope not.
Is that what they're saying?
He may have.
There's a chance.
That was a big story.
Oh, yeah.
Huge story.
LeBron James unfollowed Kendrick Perkins.
Couldn't believe it.
That was a big deal. There's also another big deal happening in basketball. We will not talk about it, though, just because we're not supposed to.
Nope.
I mean, look, Kristaps Porzingis is going to be okay. All right, his calf is all right.
That was the story I was talking about.
Kyrie will bounce back in Dallas, I think.
We'll see. I got some interesting stats on that entire thing.
The decision being made today?
Coach Dan Hurley. We'll find out if he's back at the back-to-back national champions or if he's going to the Los Angeles Lakers. We'll find that out today. There's also there's another one.
Oh, James Harden.
His girlfriend caught the
bouquet.
His eyes were lost.
Yeah. He was not about it.
That was an incredible look. That's like right out of a movie.
Yeah,
right there.
some of the memes are great. It was, I think the best one was, you see how James asked when there's a ring on the line here or something along those lines. He was getting killed for this one.
Yeah, this is straight out of a movie, and we've seen James Harden walk out to paparazzi in France alongside Lil Baby and give great looks, but that one right there, he was wondering how the hell the ball got back here.
Yeah.
He knew that this was coming. He's a obviously high basketball IQ guy. He moved him and his girlfriend to backup room. No way this thing could get here. A lot of missed passes, missed connections. It falls into her lap. Hello, James Harden. You're getting married next.
Yeah,
Congratulations.
Get it, Jimmy.
I'm saying, what the hell's going on here? I ended up with it. That wasn't it.
Damn.
Kwame Brown do anything or
No.
I haven't seen him in a while.
no? Me neither.
Would be a good time for him to come back.
Yeah, I missed.
Yeah.
There's a lot going on. I'm surprised he hasn't.
Yeah.
He just popped out of the country,
He did.
took over the internet. And I guess he's just back. Yeah, I guess he just kind of disappeared. Kwame's waiting. This might be, it's certainly starting to heat up a little bit. No? Oh, yeah, Caitlin Clark's not on the Olympic team.
That's what it was.
Oh,
That was a big conversation earlier.
huge.
Oh, yeah.
I'm happy other people are having it. Indiana Fever rookie sensation Caitlin Clark is expected to be left off the 12-player Team USA women's basketball roster for upcoming Summer Olympic sources, according to sources. Christine Brennan of USA Today, who wrote the entire article, said 2 very, very established vets came out and said that her millions of fans would be disappointed with the lack of playing time that she would get on this potentially loaded roster, and they didn't want to have that added drama in the entire thing.
Oh,
All right. Well, good luck out there, the whole team, everybody. Hope they play
good luck,
good.
ladies. Get gold.
They probably don't need a lot of luck.
7 straight I've heard they have won, which is great news. WNBA is harder than it's ever been.
Yeah, that's right.
Hot, yeah.
There was a 15-minute segment that really laid some things out that was completely missed.
Yeah.
Because of my dumb ass. You know? We did real journalism, real investigation, real research that could be very vital to a lot of people to maybe open their eyes that think to themselves, oh, we're the reasons why. You're not, okay? There is, I'm not getting into it.
Did you see the ticket prices this weekend or no?
No.
The Washington Mystics, who lost to the Indiana Fever, great win for the Fever. The price of those tickets were 2 times the price of tickets to Washington Wizards games during the season.
Well, that was also, they played in a 4,200-seat arena normally, and then they opened it up, had the biggest gate in the history of the WNBA, 20,000 plus or something. Teams combined 3-20.
Yeah, I was going to say, I know the Mystics have not won yet.
Yeah, combined 3-20, biggest gate in the history
Why'd
of
they go to the different arena?
I think they were maintenance or something. Okay. I think it was maintenance on the smaller. They're back in there now.
Christian and Scoob are doing halftime, maybe.
Are all games in that bigger arena? Or just that one?
No, that one was in there, but I think it was maintenance issue, so they moved it to the bigger arena.
Pipes.
It was pipes, type of pipes issue.
Washington.
Yeah, well, we don't know because FedEx Field, you're right.
Yeah.
You never know what's going on with the arena. So I think they're back in there, though, for the next game, like immediately afterwards, back into the 4,200 one, but then the one was in 20,000 something. We have no idea.
No.
They filled that thing up. Why don't they do that for every team?
I don't know. That's a good question.
Why don't they do that for every? Put them in stadiums, maybe.
Yeah.
Put them in every team. Have everybody do that. Why aren't they doing that?
Doesn't make sense.
I don't know.
WNBA, they got that rookie salary or whatever it is. You know, they've been around a long time, been around a really long time, established league, obviously. Everybody's watching. Why don't they just put them in bigger arenas all the time? I don't know what the deal is.
Be pretty easy to do, you'd think.
Yeah, just easy. Just
Especially the NBA ones.
open up more tickets to sell.
Yeah.
Why aren't they doing that?
I don't know.
Somebody will get to the bottom of it.
Absolutely.
Speaking of more arenas, you see, Adam Silver said they're investigating maybe the expansion teams.
Here we go.
He was in a sit-down interview, and shout out to Adam Silver, by the way, only human who really got my back. Now, obviously, made a massive mistake whenever he do that. He pointed out that context matters, but then he would also go out to chit-chat about expansion teams for the NBA. Said a city that I don't think anybody was potentially expecting. Here's NBA Commissioner Adam Silver talking about the future of the NBA.
Well, there's been some discussion about going back to Seattle potentially. Las Vegas, no doubt, is very interested in the team. Mexico City one day. But there's lots of other U.S. cities and Canadian cities, frankly, that have reached out to us to tell us they'd be interested.
Going back to Seattle is obviously the conversation of every NBA fan, right? Because the Supersonics were so awesome. Then they end up at Oklahoma City. There was a year there where Kevin Durant was up in Seattle, right? And it was huge, sell out. And we all know the Pacific Northwest fan bases are incredibly passionate and fantastic. Did we know Mexico City was potentially on deck to get a team?
That was definitely news to me. And I think even Eddie House was surprised to hear that one.
Yeah, Skylar Breen opened his eyes up a little bit there. I think he was wondering about it all. But whenever you go to Mexico City, you start thinking about international expansion. Okay, we got teams in Canada already with the Toronto squad. We go to Mexico. Are they going to try to get overseas like the NFL? What is the NBA's big move after signing a $76 billion media deal with ESPN, NBC, and Amazon?
But you wonder if the NFL and NBA try and do it together. Like, hey, okay, if you guys want to go international and have a team, if we also add an NBA team, does that make it a little easier? Or is that just something that would make logistics easier for both of them?
I know there's similar owners in some cities where team NFL team and NBA team would make it potentially easier for international play. Joining us now is a guy who might give us a little bit more information on the international appeal of the NBA. 14-year NBA vet, host of All the Smoke podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, Steven Jackson. Hey, okay. All right.
Squad.
Okay, I like what you're doing here. Obviously, repping all the WNBA teams. You told us that last time you came on. You're buying all the merch. Thank you for joining us. Seattle might get an NBA team again. That'd be great for the NBA, right, Stack?
That would be awesome. I have family that live in Seattle. A restaurant called Catfish Corner, who all the players been eating at. Used to be on Martin Luther King and Cherry. So Seattle is a great place to have an NBA team. It's great people there. I love the city, and it's good for the NBA.
Okay, so let's talk about Adam Silver talking about expansion. He said Seattle, Vegas. Obviously, everybody was connecting LeBron James, I think, to the Vegas team because he came out and said he wants to own the team that's coming to Vegas. Then he said Mexico City. We are obviously outsiders when it comes to the NBA. Has there always been a talk of a team going to Mexico or another international team being added, or did this just kind of come out of nowhere, Stack?
I think this is my first time hearing it as well, but I'm black skinned. I'm cool with it, bro. I'm cool with it. I grew up with all I grew up with Mexicans all in my neighborhood. That's how I learned to speak Spanish, man. So I'm cool with it because I love being in Mexico. I think it's dope.
Hey, NBA is obviously huge internationally. We all have known about Asia, how popular it is. We've seen the Eastern Europe crowds on how they are growing up. The stars are coming from over there. There's coming a time where there's going to be NBA international and more European games, you think? Is that just kind of how you're all assuming the trajectory of the league is going to go?
Yeah, Pat, I definitely see it where you'll have teams fly overseas and play maybe 2 games, be gone for like a week and a half and come back. You'll definitely start seeing NBA teams across the water. And I think guys are liking that because the talent, as you see now, look at the NBA. How many guys that's won the MVP has been from across the water? You know what I'm saying? You got Jokic, you got Greek Freak, you got all these guys, even Luka. Like, you got all these guys coming from across the water that's dominating, that's basically being close to being faces of the league. So I think it's important that we go out there and build the game across the water.
Roger Goodell saw Taylor Swift show up at a game dating Travis Kelce and went, yes. Adam Silver sees a bunch of countries now being represented in the NBA, and he's thinking the same exact thing, obviously, for expansion of the league. Now, let's talk about the current league. NBA Finals are happening. This Celtics team is this 4 straight? Are they just going to mop the floor with the Mavs? Is that how this is going to go? This team has been projected to be the champion since middle of the season, maybe even the beginning of the season? Yep. Nobody would even talk about them because they're like, well, the Celtics are going to be representing the East. Let's talk about everybody else. Is this going how you thought it was going to go against the Mavs? And what are your expectations as we roll forward here, Steve?
Well, I think I definitely was pulling for Luka and Kyrie, but at the same time, as me and Matt speak about on our show, we understand the level that they're playing against and what they're going against. Boston has been the team that's been there the last couple of years. They've had all the experience. They got the experienced players. They got Jrue Holiday and Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. They have been teetering that line to championship for the last couple of years. If it's any time for them to win the championship, it's to win it against this inexperienced young Dallas team who can make those shots in the first round, second round, third round. But winning those shots, hitting those shots in the NBA Finals, as I know, is totally different from those other rounds. The level and the attention to detail and every possession counts. It's harder to make those shots. So Boston is in a great position. They have the experience. They have the talent. If they don't close this series, which it should be their series, it's going to be the biggest letdown ever.
Okay, so I love that. I love to hear that. Biggest letdown ever. What a disappointment losing in the NBA Finals. That's kind of how it's been chatted about all year for the Celtics team. Big storyline I'm hearing from everybody else. Jrue Holiday's locking down Kyrie. We actually have some interesting stats here from Hembo. Jrue Holiday has the best plus-minus in a series, currently at plus 26. He also had the best plus-minus in 2021 Finals. People will forget. And then when Jrue guards Kyrie this series, 51 half-court matchups, Kyrie has 8 points on 10 shots and 1 assist. Is this Jrue Holiday basketball? Is this normal? Or do we think Kyrie finds his level? Why do you think Jrue is having so much success right now, Stack?
Well, I think because Jrue cares about defense. Jrue understands when you play against great players, it's impossible to completely stop them. But what you can do is you can pay attention to detail and stop what they like to do, make them do things different. When I was in San Antonio, especially in the finals and the playoffs, we used to get these scouting report sheets on your locker, and they tell you everything the player likes to do, whether he likes to go right, whether he spins right, all these things. Jrue Holiday is an old school guy. He pays attention to detail. He knows Kyrie's game, and he's just taking the things that Kyrie does well away and making him try to counter and do other things, and it's working for Jrue. You got to salute him.
Hey, we all assumed he would get tired in the Pacers because he was guarding Tyrese, I think, for the full court.
Yeah.
And it was like, Drew's this old ass dude ain't going to be able to do it. He's getting more energy, it seems like, as he goes. And the way he handles himself publicly, especially with how the media is trying to drive a wedge in the entire Boston Celtics, feels like they got a great locker room over there. Going to need everybody. Go ahead, D-Butt.
Yeah, speaking on Kyrie just a little bit, obviously it was a hostile environment in Boston, but hopefully he can bounce back and play a little better. Dallas definitely going to need those big two, but you kind of mentioned the other guys around those big two. What changes when these guys get back home as opposed to being on the road in that hostile environment? You mentioned being able to hit those shots in the first, second, third round. Finals a whole different ball game, but what changes for those other guys once they're back in their home arena?
Hey, let me ask to give Jrue some props. You are right. The first question, Jrue is handling it perfect, man. He gives respect to the other players. He understands how great they are, but this is competition. I come to win, and I'm going to do my job to win. Second, man, I think for the younger guys, it's easy to make a shot at home. You're at home, you're sleeping in your own bed, you're walking in this arena, you've been playing and all. Everybody's your fan, they're screaming your names. It's easy. But to win championships, you're going to have to win a game on the road. You're going to have to. In some type of way, yeah, they're going to have to come back home and defend home court, which is going to be hard because Boston was able to win games on the road, too. You see how they closed out Indiana. So, I'm an Indiana guy, too, Pat. Don't do that to me.
I know. I was there, though, watching stuff.
But Boston is finding it's just their time. It seems like the way they're playing and the way Jalen and Tatum are focused. I think it's just their time.
Okay, Connor's got a question for you.
Yeah, Stat, because there hasn't been like a top performance from any of the big names on the Celtics like Tatum and Brown. Game 1 was a lot of Porzingis. Game 2, obviously, Jrue Holiday. Do you think there's a chance that even if the Celtics go on to win, that Luka will win the Finals MVP? Because he is clearly been the best player in this series on both ends of the floor. Do you think that that's a reality here, or do you think that they'll just end up giving it to Tatum because he is Jason Tatum and kind of the face of the Celtics?
Well, if they give the MVP to Luka, I won't watch basketball ever again. Especially if they lose. If they win, that's one thing. But if they lose, I know I would be the most hate. I would hate on basketball for the rest of my life if they do that. The winner, the MVP goes to the best player on the team that wins. Whether it's Tatum, whether it's Brown, hell, whether it's KP. Whether who knows, but all these guys are playing well. You see, they having five to 4 guys every night in double digits, in high double digits. So Jrue Holiday's playing the best for me right now. He's really the reason why this team is 2-0 in the series because of his defense and his offense. So anybody can win it, but it definitely has to go to the winning team.
How's the MVP for this normally go? Just for this series or the entire playoff run?
This one, well, they did the Eastern Conference Finals MVP for the first 3 rounds.
Brown,
and you get
right?
and the MVP goes straight for the finals.
I'll be intrigued to see who they do because normally, like in the NFL, those Super Bowl MVPs normally, not all the time, but normally it's to build a legacy. Like, hey, this is going to be talked about whenever they're talking about records and who's a GOAT, who's not a GOAT. They're going to reference this. Even if, like when the Colts won the Super Bowl over the Bears, and I think Peyton would even talk about this, like running backs, offense, like Peyton didn't have his best game in the Super Bowl. Peyton won Super Bowl MVP, though, and Peyton was going to win that MVP if we won a Super Bowl anyways because the rest of the year, like everything that kind of took place. And then when we were in the Super Bowl again in 2009, it was like Joseph Adai was cooking, everybody else was cooking. It's like Peyton's going to win this MVP, though, we know because the entire season, this is for a legacy. That means it would be Tatum's kind of, but wouldn't be able, kind of, it sounds like the conversation in the narrative is almost like, at this point, not going to be easy to do that. Is that how the NBA operates? Go ahead.
Yeah, it's going to be hard there, Pat, because Jalen, I think, has the biggest contract in NBA history so far. Tatum's definitely finna break it on his next deal. So I think these guys are neck and neck, and I think you can't just put one of them in that spot already. They both still fighting for that spot, and I think they both can carry the torch together because they look better together. It's going to be harder apart. Once you get to these finals. Once you get to these finals, you see it took them a couple years to get back. I know a lot of people went one time like me and never got back to that position. So these guys got to take advantage of what they're building, try to keep it together and win as many as they can because as Kyrie's seen, once you by yourself, it's 10 times harder.
Co-MVPs. That'd be a nice fuck you to the narrative that everybody's trying to build up there.
Exactly.
That would be a very nice one. Now, speaking of the person that's kind of holding it all together and fantastic job, youngest coach to make the final since 1966. Go ahead, Ty.
Yeah, Stack. Obviously, they still have a little bit of work to do, but do you feel like we're kind of trending towards Joe Mazzulla, maybe getting a little bit more respect? Because it seems like all year long, anytime the Celtics would struggle a little bit or lose, they hung it on Joe Mazzulla. Hey, whether it was the adjustments he was making, the rotations, all that kind of stuff, and even in the playoffs right now, like people have been praising Jason Kidd for his adjustments and all that kind of stuff, and we don't really hear much about Mazzulla. Why does it seem like? Is it because he's the youngest coach to get here? Like, why do you think that he's kind of been disrespected or just almost an afterthought? And do you think if the Celtics do win the title that Mazzulla's kind of going to get his due respect that he's clearly earned all year long?
Well, people on the outside end don't think he deserved the job. They think he got the job by default because of the Udoka situation. That's what a lot of people think. But players on the inside, players that's been around the game, he gets all the respect in the world. And you get respect by winning. Right, he knows the game. He's a respectful coach. He's made a lot of adjustments this postseason, just as well as Jay Kidd. But Dallas was the hot team at the time. But now as you see that he has a well-oiled machine, and these Boston kids, he got them playing right. And I fell in love with Joe Mazzulla when I saw him, he wants all his players to contest shots, even after the whistle's blown. Nobody gets a shot off. When I seen him run out on the court and contest the shot, that's when I fell in love with this coach, because that shows his intensity, that shows his attention to detail, and that shows how he's locked in just as well as everybody else. If I want my players locked in, I got to be locked in the same way. And everything he's getting right now, he deserves, because they ask him questions about other players, and they try to bait him to say negative things about other players. He never does. He give them their props, but he always focused on what his team has to do, and that's what I respect about Joe Mazzulla.
I'll tell you what, he's setting the tone and the precedent right now on how his press conferences are going to go. You know, Bill Belichick up there in New England, the way he handled his press conferences was must watch. You know, this guy was must see to see what he wasn't going to say and how he was going to handle it. Joe Mazzulla, youngest coach to make the finals since 1966, is just like, we ain't playing these games. Nope. I'm not doing this shit. And it's like, if he wins, he'll be able to do that
forever.
Rest of his career.
Yeah.
Hey, good on you, Joe.
Keep going, Joe.
That's good work, Joe. That's good. That's good work. Let's go to another coaching search that's taking place. Go ahead, Tone.
Yeah, Steven, reportedly Danny Hurley is supposed to make a decision on the Lakers job today. I wanted to ask you, as a veteran in the locker room, does it matter to you if they would hire Danny Hurley or JJ Redick, and who gets more respect in the locker room? Would it be a college coach who just won 2 national titles coming in, or a first-time head coach that was a player in the league in JJ Redick?
Well, it's two sides to that. A college coach, it depends on who he is and what kind of coach he is. Mm-hmm. That determines how he's going to be respected. Because as you see, Rick Pitino tried it; it didn't work, and he's one of the biggest ever. So. I don't know if that will work with college. You talking to a young, well, now it's getting worse with college, because now you're starting to have athletes that you can't deal with. Once you make them mad, don't play them, they going to another school because they're getting a little money now. Before that, they couldn't do that because they wasn't making no money. Mm-hmm. Just imagine going to the league where you're dealing with guys where the whole team is making more than you. So it's going to be hard for guys to respect these guys. Now, as a player coming in, JJ Redick, you might see some guys saying it as this privilege. It's a super privilege. It's a lot of black players that's been in coach programs, that's been assistant coaches for NBA teams from 5 to 8 years. How come they're not getting this opportunity? So some players might say that, but then you got some guys too, like me, that understand both sides of it. JJ is a well-loved guy. We all, even if you didn't play with JJ, you love him. And his knowledge of the game speaks for itself. You can't take anything away from him. So you can look at it both ways. Being on the outside looking in, I don't care either way. But a lot of people will look at it both ways, and that's just the way I had to explain it, because I've had a lot of conversations with a lot of people, and they had different aspects of it.
If you win, I mean, obviously, it all stops. But boy, if you lose, especially in LA, oh my God! Either way, here, like if Dan Hurley gets this gig and he goes in LA and they lose, people are gonna be like, the guy had a well-oiled machine up there in Connecticut, just one after another. And then the whole statement starts coming where it's like, yep, you can't talk to pros the same way you talk to college guys. These are grown-ass men. This isn't guys just trying to figure it out. It's same conversation happens in the NFL whenever it takes place. Yeah. And then JJ Redick, that whole Mind the Game podcast with LeBron James, that's going to be viewed as a little season-long interview with LeBron James, even though they're saying LeBron is not the one making the decision. It's like, you'd be dumb not to ask LeBron James, wouldn't you? If LeBron's available for advice,
right,
and he is on the team,
you'd be playing for the guy.
Would you not want to ask? It's a delicate balance, because there's only so many guys in the NBA, where the NFL is obviously 53. How do you feel about LeBron, where he's at right now, his career and everything like that going forward? What do you think is the next couple of years? What do you think it looks like?
However he wants it to look, just how it looked from the beginning. He's dictated everything the way he wanted to look, the way he wanted to go his whole career, and you got to commend him for that. I mean, anytime you can control your career and make sure you control your own narrative and nobody else is, I think he's doing a great job of that. Getting whatever coach that come there, they just got to be ready to deal with the responsibility of being the blame for everything. LeBron has had a couple of coaches. Every time they win, they don't put the blame on the players. They put them on everybody else. I really think that players got to take more responsibility. Darvin Ham's a great coach. He's been around for a long time. He's a great guy we all respect. You can't just throw him out like that because the team didn't perform well. Look what AD was doing in the fourth quarters. So the players got to take the blame. Bron and AD need to take more blame on that team and stop bringing new coaches in just to blame it on a new coach. You can't expect the coach to go out there and play games.
Yeah, I think a lot of people feel that way, and I assume LeBron and them have heard it. Darvin Ham just signed with the Bucks as to be assistant with Doc Rivers. I believe that literally just happened happened today as we were chit-chatting. So congrats to him getting back on his feet.
Yeah.
I did appreciate him in the interview going, I got star players going 1 for 40. What do you want? The fuck do you want from me? I can drop how many plays you want, guys are missing layups, which goes to another no. Last question here from us, and we can't thank you enough for your time. All the Smoke podcast alongside Matt Barnes, banger, would recommend all the time. Connor's got a question for you.
Yeah, Stack, I know you finished your career or played later on for the Clippers. Have you seen any of the clipped show? And if you haven't, have you seen any of the clips that have made it to Twitter? Because there is one of Doc Rivers just eviscerating the entire team. I wasn't sure if that was as accurate as what it was portrayed as.
Well, I was on the Mavericks team, and I got cut when Chris Paul broke his hand, and that's why I didn't stay on the team long. But I did a song on the video called "America the Beautiful" with Scarface about it, and that's really why I never got picked up by another NBA team because I publicly spoke about Donald Sterling and his nonsense. But I didn't. When I was there for that short time, Doc Rivers was super respectful. I didn't hear none of that, him talking to nobody like that, and if it was jokes. It was back and forth, Jonah, how we do as amongst friends. It was never to the point where it was being disrespected. So maybe I wasn't there long enough, but I've never seen that in Doc Rivers. He was always a stand-up guy. I can't stand his son, but I love Doc Rivers as a person.
Yeah, we saw that. We saw your answer there saying, I'm not going to be commenting on anything in Austin Rivers' apartment.
Nope.
Stack, we appreciate the hell out of you, man. Keep going, and thank you for stopping by on this glorious Monday, pal.
Man, anytime for you, Pat. Anytime you call, I'm coming, bro. Shout out to the gang, too, man. I appreciate you guys.
Hey, you too, ladies and gentlemen. Steven Jackson, thank you, man. Yeah. Hate his kid, but he's cool.
I like his dad.
Yeah. What do you think Austin was just thinking while he was like, come on.
Again, Shea shots?
He was holding his phone. He was going from Zoom
to blurry.
Yeah. Just going, what's going on? What's the deal? I like that this Celtics team is seemingly just like all in.
Yeah, they're just a bunch of dogs. And
got stars everywhere.
Really is
Porzingis was supposed to be star.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like supposed to be big time star. So his ego could have now a couple humbling situations in New York and Dallas, and then obviously he ends up in Boston. But like he could act like he's supposed to be a guy because people have been talking about him being a guy since he's like a teenager or whatever. Then obviously Brown and Tatum, these guys can't do it. These guys can't do it. You could see that easily driving them apart. Instead, they're sticking in. Jrue Holiday's a vet, been around. He was down on that New Orleans Pelicans team whenever Zion Williamson was a rookie, let alone going out to Milwaukee, moving it's like there's so many potential egos that could get in the way of this team going on a run. Instead, they're just dialed in and dominant. They beat the hell out of the Pacers. We saw that. Now, the Pacers had leads in literally 3 of the 4 games that they lost. Yep. But there was never any panic. They were super content. Pritchard's banging them in from half court off the glass. I mean, it's just like this team maybe is about to be the most dominant winning team in the history of the NBA, they're saying.
Yeah, and it really is becoming one of those teams where they are so much better than everybody. Like when you were watching last night, even when the Mavericks had a lead, like there's never a worry as a Celtics fan just because of the fact that they can score so quick. Obviously, you assume Kyrie's going to figure it out, but also like Tatum's going to figure it out too. Like he's not going to go 6 for 22 every single game. Like if there was a game to get, it was last night when that was happening and we couldn't hit a 3 to save our lives. But yeah, feel very, very confident. Even with Porzingis a little banged up, you still got to feel confident. They also talked about on the broadcast, like with the Pacers, it was a tougher matchup almost because they're just running and gunning the entire game. With Dallas, the way they slow it down, it kind of plays into the Boston Celtics' hand. And yeah, when you have 2 guards like Jrue Holiday and Derek White being able to play defense like that on their 2 best players, it helps a lot.
Who's the white on the right for the ESPN thing?
Bob Myers.
Bob Myers. He said Brad Stevens deserves the MVP. If they're not going to give it, if it's each game, it's a different star, and it's people that they've added to their team within the last year, it's like Brad Stevens needs to be in the conversation. He doesn't get chatted about much. He's just kind of up there in the suite, just absolutely cooking.
I'm sure I would say he probably likes it that way. That's why he left the bench and took that role upstairs. You had obviously Udoka in there and then Joe taking over, but the roster they've put together, it's like wherever that ball moves, you swing. I expect the ball to go in every time they shoot a 3. It doesn't matter who's shooting it, whether I know the guy's name or not. And to Connor's point, if you can survive a game like that with Tatum, not being able to score the way he has, That's going to be tough. But Kyrie obviously has to get going. You need your second best player to, be putting up at least 25 a game in a series like this.
Can't wait to follow along. 2-0. Celtics are up over the Mavs. It goes back to Dallas, though. We shall see how this unfolds, but nobody's been able to stop. I think they got 9 straight wins or whatever.
Yep.
Thus far in the playoffs.
Damn.
That's not easy. That's a couple series there.
Yeah.
They just
That's the playoffs.
roll right through. They seem to be a wagon, and we will continue to bet on them as if that's the case, which we might have just ruined everything.
Yeah.
Their dog is going into Dallas, so.
Yeah.
Okay, good value.
For the first time in months, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. I think it's 1.5. So, yeah, you get pretty good money on Celtics game 3 if you're interested.
Yeah, I think we will.
I saw all that tape and rap on Luka, so yeah, I think I will too.
Yeah, but that's a part of the gimmick.
But defense trap, like you go
30-point triple-double.
Yeah, 32, 11, 11.
Couldn't move. Just kind of see him walking into the building, just walking in, just absolutely. I saw somebody say, third day bachelor party, you're 34 years old.
Bingo.
Like that was literally
8:15 a.m. tea time.
And then he does 30-point triple-double in the finals in Boston. There was somebody on the sideline that was trying to get him going.
Yeah, there was a near side.
Some asshole.
Yeah, in a Jaylen Brown jersey, and it was the first quarter, too, when Luka had 13 points. I forget which 3 it is. He might say something to him right here. Yeah, he does. It was awesome, because he comes back down, and hits this 3, and it's in this guy's eye. He's above the Dallas sign right there, yeah. In the Jalen jersey, right above the Dallas on the scoreboard.
Yep.
He almost was the reason the Boston Celtics lost. But again, that guy knew, hey, we got the dogs guarding Luka. There's no worry. He can score 32. Let him do that.
I saw Portnoy, obviously, with the Kyrie clown jersey on, or shirt on there, having a good one. He had a Caitlin Clark take.
Oh, yeah.
I saw.
Yep. Sure did.
How does it? I'm not doing it. We're not doing it. Let's talk about the NFL. The NFL is happening.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think it does.
Yeah, it never
We're
did.
just stuck in it forever now, I think.
No.
People went back to former number 1 picks on Olympic rosters as rookies. It happens a lot.
No.
Yeah, but those number 1
doesn't.
picks didn't have fans.
It doesn't. And also, could average double-double. No problem. Some shots made. You look at stats, okay? Let's look at stats. People on team, people not on team. And then you have to factor in like 6 to 7 wide open misses, that could be in that second stat sheet there every night.
Also applies to a couple of the turnovers as well.
Oh,
turnover numbers.
I'm not getting into. We're not getting into it.
Don't need to.
Hey, congrats! We're gonna win.
That's right.
Well, yeah, for sure.
No doubt about that.
If we don't.
But is anyone gonna?
What? Yes, it's USA. We will follow along. USA, USA, USA. But are they not getting into it? Not getting into it. The NFL had some news over the weekend. I believe Njoku had a charity softball game in Cleveland to raise some money. And we're not talking about the money that was raised or about Njoku. We're talking about running back John Kelly Jr. making a play of the game. Grandma here, I'm sure we're supposed to know, sweet, make good ball contact. That was absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah.
And somebody comes plowing in at home. Obviously got to get there in time.
Little ribby.
Grandma's moving. Grandma's rolling. She's halfway home.
Come on.
John Kelly Jr. for the Browns playing first base. Look at this story. It's a feel-good. She's going to tell the grandkids, the great-grandkids, that she out at first. Out.
Get out of here. Get out.
See ya. And then he celebrates. Yep.
Boom.
Yeah, we're not going to let some grandma get a base hit on us. Are you kidding me? Get the hell out of here. Grandma obviously took it in stride, which is a fantastic play. But John Kelly Jr., I didn't know you existed, but love what you did.
Yeah.
Think about him just standing there. Oh, this is about to be awesome.
He gave a look around too a bit.
Holding the ball. Got about another 20 minutes before she gets here. Let's her get 89 feet.
Yeah.
Yep.
Should I? Yeah. I'm going to.
Gotcha.
It did her a favor, man.
Puts a glove down too, just in case.
And then sends her off with the glove.
Had to be a given. Also in the NFL, big news happening out of the New York Giants camp. Tight end, who we all fell in love with playing football. Obviously, he's also a rapper and a podcast host. His story is one of inspiration. Darren Waller announced in a video that he is retiring from football, which is obviously something that has been speculated upon for months and months and months now. He told a story about what happened to him in November. I don't think any of us knew about. Very scary.
Just, like I said, couldn't breathe, so I ended up calling 911, and I think I'm talking clearly on the phone, but they can't make me out or make out much of what I'm saying. So I realized I kind of had to like go with the nodding and like breathe deep. And then they finally like got my address, and I get up and put a shoe like in the front door to prop the door open. So like when they arrive, they can just kick the door open and come check on me. And I just go sit on the, I kind of stumble to the couch, call the lights on, and I'm there just kind of like breathing deeply, trying to hold on to my breath. And in between each breath, I'm yelling out like help. So like the neighbors I could maybe wake the neighbors up, and maybe they'd be like, what is that? And they'd come through or whatever. But that fight kind of ensued. I don't know how long the time was. It felt like forever. And I'm like, damn, like I'm just dying on this couch and nobody knows. It was a very, like, humbly, very scary event, you know. And I remember what felt like, which was kind of similar to my overdose, just like the power like plug just being pulled out, and I just couldn't breathe anymore. But then it was like immediately somebody was there. It was like a paramedic and a police officer. That paramedic put an oxygen mask on my face, and police officer was there. And then I was able to I was still very much out of it, but could kind of have a conversation with him. And the police officer calls my mom, which my poor mother has had enough trauma with me with police and legal stuff. And the police officer calls her, and she's like, "Oh Lord, not again." But just call my mom, trying to talk to her, and trying to reach my wife at the time. But it was a very scary situation. I ended up going to the hospital, was in there for 3.5 days, and couldn't stand up and go take a piss or use a bathroom or feed myself. It was an experience that would kind of sober somebody up and just make them think, at least. And I say all that because I come out of that experience and I'm sitting in the hospital and I go back into my daily life and I'm like, pretty clear I almost just lost my life. And I don't know if I really feel like if I would have died that I would have felt great about how my life was going if I died at the time.
Okay, so that's a very powerful statement. That would obviously lead to him having a different perspective on what he should be doing with his life, and he inevitably ends up retiring. And I know the Giants fans are going to be incredibly bummed out because whenever you watch highlights of Darren Waller playing from his career, it's like in the modern NFL, this is a weapon that you would love to have on your team. He was fast, he was athletic, he could catch the ball, he seemingly could run every single route. He wasn't scared to block. The story about him ending up on the Raiders is he was warming up for the Ravens in like a pregame warm-up. And Gruden saw him warming up and said, "What the hell is that?" And then he ends up on the Raiders. He becomes their number one weapon. Josh Jacobs obviously in the backfield. Darren Waller is tight end. Derek Carr and he connected very, very well. And his career was just up and at him. And then we learn more about his story, about sobriety and everything he'd been through. It's like, this dude's an inspiration. This dude is a freak on the football field. And in the modern NFL, with the way the rules are, this is a perfect asset to have on your team. He gets paid massively by the Las Vegas Raiders. And then all of a sudden, his wedding with his previous wife, Kelsey Plum, either gets leaked publicly by Josh McDaniels or by somebody else within the building. There is a beef that takes place. He ends up getting traded to the New York Giants like 1 month after getting married to Las Vegas Aces player Kelsey Plum. And the Giants fans think to themselves, perfect, we're off and running. But then the Giants are the Giants. It doesn't work out. Now he's retired, and I'm worried that people aren't going to remember how good of a football player he was.
Yeah.
He was so good whenever he was flying around. But for the last year and a half or so, it's just been a lot of like drama, and the only time you really hear his name when something negative happens. That guy was a beast on the field. That needs to be remembered.
Yeah, at his peaks, it was a conversation with Kelsey, Kittle, and him right up there at the top. And he was a wide receiver, a matchup nightmare, absolutely dynamic on the football field. And the only reason he had to go the long, hard route football-wise was because of some red flags he had early on. And I just hope as a man, he figures whatever he needs to figure out. And because as we know, it's a lot longer life on the other side of football. But I hate to see his career cut, short in terms, because that's where we get to enjoy him. That's where the fans, get to enjoy and play football. But I guess the bigger picture here is that he's good, mentally. That sounds like a hell of a health scare. I don't know if that was an anxiety attack or what exactly it was, but it sounds scary as hell. But just hope Darren's good. Definitely hate to see his football career come to an end after 9 seasons. I thought he was in his prime still.
Yeah, we hope he's happy. That's literally all we hope. And if he can find it, we hope he finds it. But it's like, nope, it was never really explained what happened to him. No. Because I've never had a full-on anxiety attack. I've been around people that have had it. Can't breathe, like everything kind of tightens up, feels like the weight of the world is literally pressing on your chest, and then panic sets in because you think you're going to die, and then one thing leads to another, and you start overthinking, which is what let it in there so it can spiral quickly. 3.5 days in a hospital, though. I don't think I've ever. Never. Because then there were some people that were speculating maybe it was a COVID, maybe it was a type of COVID that took place or something. I have no idea what it was. Happy he's alive, though.
Yeah.
And in those moments, whenever you're contemplating everything, you have to reassess what it matters and what doesn't matter. Obviously, being a human living his life a little bit more than football right now. This doesn't mean he's done forever, though.
No.
True.
Let's remember that, and I think a lot of people are holding off hope for that.
Well, and that's what we're talking about is prime. Like I know you've said it before. Like it's not the end all be all the NFL top 100 thing, because like there's a way that guys can game that, but players vote on that, right? Like that's all player vote. Like in 2021, he was the 35th best player according to that in the NFL.
All positions.
And like you see the clips and everything. And I remember when he got traded after all the stuff with his wedding got leaked and everything. Like it was rumored that the Packers were trying to get him, and you just think like if he would have got traded to a team like that and got to play with an Aaron Rodgers or like the Bills. Or the Chiefs would never do it, obviously, but who knows? You get the point. Like if he would have got to play like a guy like that, as opposed to going to New York, where not that Daniel Jones isn't a serviceable quarterback, but it's not the same as playing with an Aaron Rodgers or a Josh Allen or something like that. Like if he actually would have got to go to a place where he got to like a truly elite quarterback, like who knows? Maybe all of this stuff never happens, and he's still playing.
Yeah, and hey, Darren. Pulling for you, man.
Hell yeah, D-Wall.
Pulling for you, man. Whatever you do, we're excited to watch it. An incredible talent.
Yeah.
Incredible talent. Good brain. Has a cool look, too.
Oh, yeah. Great.
How cool does he look? Those tats.
So sweet.
How jacked he is.
Yeah.
Those inside of the thigh ones must hurt so bad.
So bad. Those shorts, obviously, when you get inside of thigh tats, you need shorts to showcase this. And he did have those.
Yeah, smart.
He did have those shorts, big quads.
Got another career, too. Got another outlet. Obviously, we see he makes music. He's putting videos out there. So, obviously, a lot of people transition and go that route. So, hey, maybe that's where we see him. Why are you looking at that? You enjoy his
that last
rap.
one bummed me out. I'm gonna be honest.
Yeah. The rap though, the rap of him on his back porch, just holding a mic, reading something he wrote.
Yeah, he's a real talent.
Yeah,
he's a real talent. That music video though,
it's sad.
That really worried me.
Bummed me out.
Is there a knife in his back?
Well, we didn't know because they just didn't zoom out. We thought it was a hug, and then zoomed out. This guy just got stabbed in the back. He's bleeding. He's dead.
Yeah, it was.
He was eating waves
in the ocean,
and he's a method actor too. He had to really get in there.
Oh yeah,
that was not. I was
full
worried.
of salt water.
The ocean's dangerous right now too. Don't go in the ocean.
There's a lot of shit popping off in the ocean.
Yeah,
right now.
a lot of sharks in the ocean right now. Don't go in there.
Well, it's not that they're in there. I think they're
always in there.
Yeah, but they're a little bit more.
They're a little more feisty.
Closer.
Yeah, they are dancing, and these whales too. Hey, the whales are problematic right now.
Talking to each other.
Yeah, these things like the gossip.
Well, they are. They came out. They basically said like, "Hey, these things are knocking over boats just for fun. There's no ulterior motive. Like they see boats and it's like, hey, you know what? Yeah. Let's go knock this thing over."
Hey, you remember something that looked like this was being an asshole in our water like 10 years ago? You remember we didn't do anything about it? Not now. Now it's our time. They might have got a new leader.
Yeah, they could.
They might have got a little bit more. When Gotti took over,
right.
It was a little different in New York City as opposed to what it was whenever he was capo or whatever, and he ended up allegedly killing the head boss. He takes over to be the god. A little bit more action. Maybe that's what took place. We don't know, but we do know in the ocean's not a place where you want to be. His face in the waves is nowhere where we need to see him. No. So, Darren, we hope you figure it out.
Hell yeah.
I hope you figure it out. Thank you for what you did for football. Darren, also in the NFL. Darius Slay, the Slay maker, the playmaker, chit-chat about his free agency where he almost ended up as a Baltimore Raven. Wait until you hear the name that pops into this one. Kept Darius Slay a Philadelphia Eagle.
I love Dahn, man. I appreciate the shout out, Dahn. Dahn, the reason I came back.
What?
Hey, let's go.
Oh, yeah, that's something I want to talk about.
So last year, walk me through that whole process. Like what was going on? Like you were off the
Look
team.
at that, John.
Hours later, you're back. You're
Well,
extended.
it's always about just a little. It's about how they wanted to do the cap thing. You know what I'm saying? Just using leverage. Everybody does it. They use leverage against us. They use age against us to leverage us. So why I use the cap number against them? You know what I'm saying? To get the money I want, they use the age, the money they want to offer me. So it's always just be tick and tack. That's just how the business be. But at the end of the day, for sure, I almost was a Baltimore Raven though. I really committed to the Ravens and was finna go. Then Dom called me and said, Slay, I want you here, da-da-da. And I'm like, you know what, Dom? If you calling me, Dom, I'm coming back. You know what I'm saying? I love Dom.
Go, right.
He said, I'm going to give you an offer you cannot refuse.
Dog, that's my dog, man. I love dog, man. He look out for me and my family, man. Make sure everybody good. So, I gotta always show him.
How about everybody in the Philadelphia Eagles organization being like, love Dom?
Everybody.
What does he do? Everything. What do you mean he does everything? He does everything. They just changed his title. I think he's like now assistant GM, senior advisory to the GM. He's advising the general manager.
Wow. Yeah.
Okay, that's what Big Dom is doing. I'm also chief security officer, so nobody's getting in, nobody's getting out. I'll tell the GM my thoughts, certainly. Head game day coaching operations, so they have to keep me on the sideline. It's now a title. Look at the badge. Look at the badge. And he's also just boss, capo, they should maybe call him. Whatever, Godfather, Dom. Whatever the case, Paisan, you've done really well. Seemingly, everybody that you work with loves you and respects you, except for the NFL, who banished you from the sideline, which I still think, especially with the more stories that I hear, that's a massive ordeal for that collapse of the Philadelphia Eagles last season.
Yeah.
Once Big Paisano Dom gets his ass with those sweet glasses and that great hat back on the sideline, I think we see the Philadelphia Eagles from the beginning of the season and the year before, as opposed to what we saw at the end of that thing.
Yeah, I mean, it's like a yin and yang. Sirianni was a different guy when Dom wasn't on the sideline. And it kind of just, permeated through the entire roster. And for Howie Roseman to be like, no. This guy's going to be
advise me.
This guy's going to advise me. Okay. Not only that, he's going to be on the sideline every game. We're going to make sure he doesn't get tossed out of another game. And obviously, the boss. Just giving him the boss title. That's just the cherry on top.
They gave him a pinky ring while they did it.
Yeah.
Obviously, and that was well earned, well deserved. Go ahead, Tony.
They lost the game. Obviously, that happened, and then they were 1-5 after that.
Bingo. And we were talking about it. Everybody's mocking us.
Yeah.
These journalists were mocking us. It's like, hey, when you got a vibes guy.
Yeah.
And you need a vibes guy, you lose vibes guy, vibes might not be good.
Right.
That is certainly a possibility. And just like, because we're in the NHL finals and everything, so we'll make the reference. Like when Wayne Gretzky, the great one, was playing, there was always a goon walking around, to protect him.
Yep.
Sirianni's goon. And I mean this as a compliment. We're going to take this.
Right.
Jesus. Goon's a good thing.
Yeah.
Need one down here.
ASAP. When the goon leaves, all of a sudden you're a little different animal. Sirianni's not thinking as clearly. He's not chewing on the kibbles and bits.
Looking over his shoulder.
No.
There's a little bit of a different animal. So now that Big Dom advising the GM, you're welcome, Howie. And he's also coaching security on the side, you're welcome, Sirianni. Everything's back together again in the city of brotherly love. Congrats to the Eagles finding it.
Yeah, unbelievable. I mean, every city should have like their own Big Dom. Like Big Dom kind of represents Philly very well. Like Indiana, to D-But's point, like what if Indianapolis, the Colts just had like the biggest, dumbest, fattest hick on the sideline, just basically being their Big Dom. How cool would that be?
Big Dom, huh?
Yeah, there you go. There you go. You can call him that. Like,
hey, where's Big Dom at?
In New England, like I want the oldest son of a bitch from South Boston or Charlestown.
Just old Irish guy.
Just there, drinking pops, smoking cigs with a nice little Kangol hat on.
Yeah, Big Dom, I think he's potentially calling out what offenses are about to run.
For sure.
Agreed.
I think he's cerebral football mind.
Probably earned that advisory role when he got kicked off the sideline. He was up there and Howie was like, hey.
Shit, this guy's got ideas.
Yeah, wow.
Has this always been, how long you been? Everybody's been stealing your ideas and telling me. Congrats to Dom. You done did it, pal.
Hell yeah.
All right, we'll be back in the next hour. This is the Pat McAfee Show. It stinks. We know that. But we're still on air. People hate that. We'll see you in about 3. Cheers. Without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, the commissioner of the NFL. Don't listen to them. No. Roger Goodell. Shut your mouth. I appreciate you. Thank you so much for joining us. Yeah. You're our commissioner. Don't worry about these bums. From us to you, we'd like to give you a gift that we know you're a big fan of. Ladies and gentlemen, some peanut M&Ms for our commission.
This is why we're on set?
Yep. You can take these with you. You can take them home.
I might just say, I got a gift for you. What?
Oh. You ready?
Yeah, I like that.
With the 222nd pick in the 2009 NFL Draft.
Oh, yeah.
The Indianapolis Colts select Pat McAfee. Hunter, West Virginia.
Hell yeah!
Come on there, baby.
Good pick! Good pick!
I'll pick him up. Thank you, Raj. I'm not going to pick you up because you got that
That's
back.
all right.
Yeah.
I got it. There's your card, baby. That's real.
That's awesome.
I've been keeping that for, 15 years?
You had it in your back pocket this whole time. This is cool. Thank you for this. So whenever we say that you have to answer to 31 billionaires, how accurate is that?
32. Well, you're not counting Green Bay?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because
Doesn't count.
Big Pop. There's a Green Bay Packers.
I didn't know he did.
Yeah, no, that was.
I don't actually think that way. I actually think I answer to them. I think I answer to the media partners. I think I answer the players. I think I answer the owners too. The idea for me is to try to keep everyone happy. I always say that my biggest job is not to piss off more than 24 owners in a given day.
How did you know the draft would be awesome if you traveled it, and did you see this happening?
I'd be kidding you if I thought it was going to be as big as it is. We felt like we could be bigger than we were in Radio City. But what happened is Radio City actually put a holiday show in and said, you can't have the draft until June. And that's what he said. We're out of here.
So they
And
kicked you out.
That's when we went on the road.
Well, Taylor Swift, we know.
Well, that's a different kind of influence.
How about, hey, listen, a lot of jokes from
They're booing Taylor Swift.
Yeah, you can't boo.
They're idiots.
Yeah, you're going to be a part of an album.
Wow.
Do it. Get a little louder. She is going to cook you. A lot of the internet was saying Roger Goodell was sitting at home through the mirror about this.
Well, they thought it was part of the script.
Yes, then he went on to it. There it is. Is there a thought of adding another one, maybe adding another bye week, or are we good at 17 right now?
Well, I think we're good at 17 now, but listen, we're looking at how we continue. I'm not a fan of the preseason. I don't think we need preseason.
Waste of time, right? And energy.
I don't buy it, and I don't think these guys like it either.
Well, they have to spend full price for the tickets for those games.
No, they're actually discounted now. So
Thank you for doing that.
I'd rather replace a preseason game with a regular season any day. That's just picking quality, right? If we got to 18-2, that's not an unreasonable thing. The other thing it does, which I thought you were going to, is that ends up on President's Day weekend, which is a 3-day weekend, which makes the Sunday night, and then you have Monday off. So that's
wow.
Now we're cooking.
See,
now we're cooking.
Did you talk to the president about having the Monday after the Super Bowl off too?
The following program is a collection of stooges talking about happenings in the sports world. It is meant to be comedic informative. The opinions expressed on this show do not necessarily reflect the beliefs of their peers, their boss, or ESPN. There may be some cuss words because that's how humans in the real world talk. If you are young, please seek permission before watching any further.
Hey. What? Let's go!
This show stinks, and the fact that you listen, we are very, very thankful for. Ah! The all-time leading tackler for the Green Bay Packers, you pig! Stop! Damn it! Be a friend, tell a friend something nice could change their life. Sport! Hello, beautiful people, and welcome back to our humble abode, the Thunderdome, on this Overreaction Monday, June 10th, 2024. Our tour of the program starts right now. Sports are the greatest thing on earth, and we're lucky to talk about them every single day. Thank you so much for watching or listening, wherever the hell you may be. You're great people out there. Now, there's a lot of things being said about me, and I certainly deserve them, but there's also a lot of fake quotes floating around the internet saying that I said them. If you see those and could just give like a, yeah, he never said that, that would be great news.
Never said that.
Because I can't just be saying that to everything that's going out there. People were trying to kill me, kill us, for good reason. I made a mistake. But other than that, we will continue to push on as the luckiest humans on earth who get to chit-chat and celebrate sports every single day. It's not just me. The Talks Table's here, at Boston Connor and at Ty Schmidt. Is that a Kavanaugh Cannons hoodie right there, pal?
This is a Boston Kavanaugh Cannons hoodie. It's been a kind of a crazy last couple weeks. I never thought I'd be a massive lacrosse guy. Never thought I'd be a massive soccer guy, but after going down to TST and then also the Boston Kavanaugh Cannons, I got two of my favorite sports now, really, that about 6 months ago I couldn't have cared less about.
Well, not to mention Kavanaugh, too. This weekend, Pat finally slayed at home his first goal of his professional
Congratulations,
career.
Patty!
How about it? He's back.
It sucks for Pat that he's not able to do the European victory celebration that they were able to do after their first national championship. Instead, he goes from national championship to winning the
The Tuaraton.
Straight to first weekend of POO within like 6 days.
Yeah.
Didn't even get to celebrate. Now he's kind of finding his footing. How are the Boston Cavanaugh Cannons doing this year?
They're doing all right. They are finding their footing. There are a couple teams. The Atlas have been a very, very formidable opponent for a lot of teams.
Is goalie for Notre Dame playing for them?
I don't know if he's playing yet. The story from there, as far as rookies go, is Schellenberger. This guy, Connor Schellenberger.
Oh, Schellenberger!
Like 11 points in the first game or something.
Yeah.
What?
He's unbelievable. He had like 4 goals, 6 assists.
How is he not in Notre Dame?
Because he's Virginia's boy. He grew up basically on Virginia's campus, went to Virginia all 4 years. He was a Tuaraton finalist too, basically every year that he was there. So that was kind of their bell cow. And then the other number 1 overall pick, Brendan O'Neill, he just actually won the game for his team.
And lacrosse is happening now where on ESPN Plus.
ESPN Plus and ESPN2, and they're going city to city still right now. There
Tell you what,
filthy.
That's Kavanaugh's first goal. That is not Schellenberger. That is Patty Kavanaugh, 2-time national champion, 1-time winner of the
Tuaraton
award, which is the Heisman for lacrosse, scoring his first goal in appeal. First of many. He's on the way.
Yeah.
He's an assist guy now, though, isn't he?
Yeah, bingo. Him and his brother. So him and his brother both being on attack. His brother's also a feeder, if you will, but he can do it all. And Pat hasn't been starting at attack as much.
One half of the hammer. Dahn. Cowboys Tone Diggs is here. What are you guys betting on right now? Obviously the finals, a lot of baseball stuff. Are you getting into lacrosse?
No, not getting into lacrosse.
Come on.
Boston Cavanaugh.
We got Euros. We got Euros on
I'll
deck,
be completely
boys.
honest. I don't know if you can bet on lacrosse.
You just learned that mid-sentence.
Pending the book.
Definitely, yes. But no, baseball is huge. Obviously, once the finals end, then we got Euros coming up. Copa America, not a great showing for U.S. men's national team.
5-1 lost to Colombia.
That's just a friendly, though. We're just getting warmed up.
Halter out there saying.
Yeah, we were lucky to be. The internet was saying that pretty loud. We were lucky to be around some U.S. men's national team legends.
Yeah, you could say that.
As this was all happening.
What was the word?
Just very confused on how this is certainly the most talented team the U.S. has ever assembled.
Mm-hmm.
All these guys grew up playing in the academies over. So these dudes, this is the most. This is the most talent we have, and we lose 5-1 to Colombia in game. I mean, it's just there's a lot of question marks, a lot of conversations, and then. Gumpy and I were reading tweets that people were saying about Berhalter just to see the reaction from U.S. men's national team alumni, and it was certainly a fascinating.
How did the alumni feel about Coach?
I won't air anybody's grievances or anything like that, but there's certainly a lot of confusion on how we take one step forward and then somehow 7 steps back. Like everybody in the U.S. soccer system growing up from my age, before even back to Tony Meola. When Tony Meola, he went over and played overseas. He was one of the first guys to ever play in Europe. He was the goalie position. Then a couple of defenders got to play over there in Europe. Then midfielders and now strikers allowed over there. It's been a real long time to get Americans accepted into the European soccer and into the academies growing up. Philadelphia Union kid just got accepted into, I think, the Manchester United Academy if you wanted to go over there and play. And we learned a lot about that too, because there's a lot of guys that were asked to go play over there and their experiences and stories and everything with the Concava Soccer Club. But a lot of confusion on how the hell is the team this bad when we should be the best with all the decades of hard work that the U.S. men's national team has put in to kind of prove and earn respect from the world. Now we're at a position where it's like 5-1 to Colombia with the best team, and now there's only going to be more drama and more bullshit, just like there was at the World Cup. Figure it out.
Yeah,
come on.
Especially with the World Cup being in our backyard. Listen, okay, we're going to say
Canada can suck.
That's fine.
We actually tied France yesterday.
Yeah, but France sucks too.
Mbappe
got out of there. Mbappe's trying to go play somewhere else.
Actually, Jesse Marsh, American coach.
I don't want to hear it.
Very good coach.
Au revoir.
Glad to have him.
Exactly.
That's
Point
who I wanted for the
we
US.
cannot lay an egg / look like shit with the World Cup in our own backyard. Just can't do it.
Especially if soccer's going to get hot with people learning that there's other forms of soccer that's pretty electrifying and entertaining. There was a lot of humans telling me, I have never watched a soccer game in my life. And then they watch Concava. In our style of play, D-But, we came back from behind. We had big meat. Breck Shea gets in a couple fights.
Yeah.
I mean, our team was full of goons. Once again, that's a compliment.
Right.
But we had some talent, some skill, some luster. If our soccer team does well, I think there is a time for Americans to maybe grasp a little bit more than they had in the past. But we're going to fuck it up, D-But, just like another league that's potentially doing that.
I hope not for soccer and for the other league as well, because I enjoy all these sports. I'm right there with Ty. Every offseason almost, I feel like I pick up another sport.
Sure.
Pick up soccer. You say lacrosse now.
Yeah.
Any chance NASCAR, F1.
Not a chance.
Hey, Kyle Larson gets another big-time win this weekend in Sonoma.
Yep.
I believe I was watching that. Will Power wins for the IndyCar. And then Canada, who won? If you had to guess for the G1.
I mean, this is just way
Guess.
Yeah, just way out there. I'm guessing Verstappen won again.
Max?
Yeah.
You're right.
Okay.
Hey, way to go, G1.
You won.
Throwing their fastball this weekend.
Of course.
I'm sure PK will talk about it, but it was a crazy race. But yeah,
I bet it was.
Max did win.
Crazy, man.
Just like who won in Memorial this weekend?
That's different. You know it.
You know.
Pinnacle, right?
You talking about
Scotty Scheffler.
Yes, yeah. Scotty, what, 5 of last?
He doesn't have engineers building his body, okay? He built that body. Jesus built his body, okay?
Yeah, you're goddamn right.
And his swing.
He's hot.
Joining us now, ladies and gentlemen, he is a. I thought you were talking about Kyle Larson because he seemingly is.
He's there too. He's there too.
He got another win. Joining us now, live from Manatee, Ohio, big time soccer fan.
Yeah.
College football national champion, Super Bowl champion, all time leading tackler for the Green Bay Packers, president of Ohio, Mr. AJ Hawk.
Yeah, Hawker.
Hawker, how you doing, pal?
You're right. I am a big soccer fan. I think after being down in Cary, North Carolina, watching the boys have some unbelievable victories. By the way, come from behind. Like they showed a lot of grit, a lot of passion. I feel like on that squad.
A lot of jam. You know, we had a good culture. Like I mentioned in the first hour, we had a fight amongst the ranks in our soccer village stable that we had that carried into the hotel late night, and then next day we go out and get a win. And everybody puts their swords down.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's a sign of a good culture. Yeah. You know, these guys kind of handle it. We keep it moving. We had a nice mix of older guys that had been there, done that, played outdoor soccer. And then the Arena League guys, obviously, they have a sauce and a moxie about them that is irreplicable. When you talk about, like, Shane Gillis, at one point, he played Air Force?
College football Army, I believe.
Army. And then he transferred where?
To Elon.
And he played football there, right?
Yep.
Okay, so think of not just Elon, but he's got to love football.
Mm-hmm.
Play offensive line to Elon. Think about D3 football players that play offensive line, okay? Those guys love football more than anybody on earth because you're wearing terrible quality shit. You're washing it yourself. You're getting no real help. The quality of football pretty low, and you're fist fighting for football every single day, D3. Like, offensive linemen in D3 football are the guys who love fucking football more than anybody else. They're going to go on to coach. Like, those are people. These Arena League guys, like, there's some guys making like $200 a week playing in this ring, and they just love, like, addicted to soccer, love soccer. Now, the guys that we have on our team are the highest paid guys in the Arena League.
Yeah.
They are the guys in the Arena League. But you're talking about just like obsessed with soccer and footy. It's that group right there. And then all the OGs that we had, so cool to learn from and chit chat with. Like Jeff Cameron tears his MCL. Awesome. Like, what a dog. Not awesome that he tore it, but like watching him do that, it was like, you're a legend, dude. Then he tapes on an MCL and plays 2 games later because he knew that we needed him. Big Zot, 10 years in the Premier League and everything is about. Michael Grella, and obviously he came on the show, absolute stud. He's literally just living life on TV and at home, and then he shows up at this TST, has the nastiest goal of the weekend. Now he's back right now mowing the lawn. That is literally what he's doing. His wife just posted, guys, just mowing the lawn, mowing the lawn.
Beautiful outfit.
We chatted with him. Him and Tony Meola's parents are from the same town outside of Naples in Italy. Grella's dad still speaks fluent Italian. I think he refuses to speak English. Like he's an Italian chef on Long Island. His mom, obviously from Italy, does speak it. Tony Meola's parents from it. Like, so you're talking about super duper gabagool.
Oh yeah.
You know, super. He said, I like, getting out, cutting the grass. I get the weed whacker out. I do the whole thing because I'm from a more rural part of Italy. So it's like in my blood, I'm like, so are we going to play soccer all the way up until next year? We committed to each other that we would do it more than we did this past year.
Okay.
But next year, if we got Grella playing some soccer on a regular basis, and we got Jeff Cameron with an MCL, and we got Breck Shea with a full hamstring.
Yeah.
And then we got the Arena League boys back. And Faso is piecing together the logistics so that we have IVs every day, food every single night, hotel setup, rides, vans, everything like that. Concafa SC is going to come back next year with a vengeance. Now, there's going to have to be a full conversation with the TST people business-wise.
Sure.
We all knew that.
I'm sure you guys.
That's inevitable.
We all knew that was coming. Okay, we're very lucky and honored to be there. But it was awesome down there. The finals are tonight, AJ. The finals are tonight.
Man, what I thought you guys were going to make it. Honestly, it felt like you were like a team of destiny, and what you were able to do was pretty impressive. And that's what made, like, when you have a connection to the game, it makes it so much more fun. And I got to meet the team and see the guys, not hang out nearly as much as you did with them, but it made it a lot of fun to watch. That's why I came back. I'm sitting here watching at 8:30 at night on Saturday or whatever, watching you guys play on ESPN Plus, because I felt like I knew the guys and I was rooting for each one of them.
True joy from me whenever we won. Like, I did not expect that going in.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I told you after the first game, like, I did not realize how competitive I was because it had been so long. Like, I was losing my mind on the sidelines during those
Me
games.
and Gump fully invested. I mean, Gump picked up 2 yellow cards.
Yeah, I did.
You know, I mean, Gump almost picked up a red. I mean, here's Gump in the first game. Tony Meola had no idea that Gumpy was there.
Loves draft.
We showed that video afterwards to Tony. He goes, Gump, I had no idea you were in
Think about how many teams Tony Meola has been a part of in his soccer life. He literally said that was one of the best soccer weekends of his life. Like, I'm dead serious. That was the time of my life.
And it was like we were kids again playing like travel soccer, cup soccer. I think that's how everybody felt, including Tony Meola. And I mean, Jeff, Zott, and Breck played and Grella have all played professionally. You put those together, like 75 years, like a lot of years of professional ball. And these Arena League guys, they'll play in another tournament this weekend. They'll play in another tournament on Wednesday. They'll be in another tournament. It was like, it feels like that thing was special. It really did feel like it was special. But we weren't supposed to win at year one. That's not how it goes. No, you got to build on that for next year. Tony Meola gave a speech immediately after the loss that was fantastic. Like, it was a great... It was
unbelievable.
It was a great skipper speech to a team after a loss, because there was actual like disappointment and devastation. I was bummed out that we weren't going to continue to go, but I was like overwhelmingly pumped about how good we did. I was like even as the game's kind of unfolding and Hoosiers kind of getting the best of us the entire time. Like, Hoosier been in last year, they rebuilt their team too, added more players. They were a great group of dudes, cool guys, happy Indiana's representing, but they knew a lot more this year than they did last year going in, and they were pummeling us for a good bit. So there's a lot of times where we're watching that game where obviously if we make it to target score time, our Arena League boys could make this a four goal comeback if it really had to happen, if we're able to do it. But I was kind of like, you know, we probably going to lose this game. Like, you're thinking about that. And then you have all these thoughts like, it's only been like 4 or 5 days down here. I feel like I know everybody. I know their families. I know the tendencies. I know these guys' traits. Like, we were able to build up a team again. And I think that is something now, obviously, in this building, it is awesome. Getting to work with a team every single day, like-minded, is cool. But you know, when people retire, they miss, like, the locker room, and they miss, like, that. I think what I potentially missed was building of a team, like, learning about people and, like, spending the time to get to know people and then making links for people that maybe are a little bit what's that mean whenever you don't talk a lot? You're introvert. Like, maybe some introverts and like, hey, you got to connect here. It was like cool to. Now, there were late nights. We were out on that patio really late with the Arena League boys. But like getting to know their stories and like investing and like then the other guys learning about them. It was an awesome weekend. It was a fun weekend. Gumpy, they smoked so many cigars. Those dudes.
Buddy, I woke up yesterday morning before we flew back, and I was in a bed. Well, I still don't have a voice from screaming at the refs and from the cigars on Saturday night.
Yeah. Every night there was 6, 7, 8 of them just being passed around. And it was like, we're playing soccer tomorrow.
Yeah, camaraderie.
Playing soccer.
That was the best part of that video. They're like, these are your best players. You're like, yep, that's real league football.
Oh, yeah, her talking about those guys chugging beers.
Oh, yeah.
It's like the beers aren't what we worried about.
You guys got to play at 11 in the morning.
You go back to the beginning to run this thing.
Oh, yeah, you did have a short turnaround.
Round of 32 beer shower. How's this team going to celebrate now? Because you guys have an important game tomorrow, and these are some of your key players, Pat.
That's Arena League football right there. I mean, that is how these boys operate. If I've learned anything over the last few nights, the Arena. Baby. Yeah, there it is. Those are the Arena League boys right there. We are a throwback. We had a breakfast at 10:30, okay? And that was negotiated with the Arena League boys. Sure. They came in, we need a 1 o'clock breakfast, we had a 6 o'clock game or whatever. We're like, that's not breakfast anymore, boys. You see that? That's lunch. A lot of the older guys here need like a breakfast, to kind of get the day going. So how about like 10 o'clock? And they go, 11. We'll do 11. Perfect. 10:30? That's going to be early. They showed up. They set the alarm. It was the first time I think they've set an alarm for something that isn't a game, maybe in 10 years.
Here we go.
Awesome.
It was cool. It was really cool to be a part of. And AJ, I appreciate you investing in it, sending text messages, throughout the entirety. You too, D-Butch, with your posts. A lot of people got into it. It was fun. And thank you to TST for their thing. AJ, I don't know if you know this or not. Darren Waller retired from the NFL officially. So he will no longer be a member of the Giants. And to be honest, I don't remember anything he did for the Giants. So I'm just going to think about his time with the Raiders, how great it was. The game's going to miss him. I legitimately feel that way. But the game has missed him for the last year or so anyways, AJ.
Yeah, I mean, you talk about a guy that is built to play kind of in this era of football, too. Big, like I know D-Butt said earlier in the show, like a matchup nightmare, which is what you want to do when you're an offensive coordinator. Hey, where's the matchups that we like? And you're going to like a lot of matchups. I think that you have Waller on anybody. But, man, I watched the video that you guys played earlier of him on whatever podcast or show that was. I only read that story. I hadn't heard him talk and tell that story, actually. That's scary, man. What the hell happened to him?
We have no idea. Hopefully he will, maybe not. I don't know. But hopefully we'll learn what it is so we don't ever suffer from it. That sounds like a nightmare. He's propping the door open, hoping that people will hear him scream, help.
Yeah.
That was
the prime of his body.
Great, though, that he had the wherewithal to do that because, who knows what time frame, the cops show up or ambulance or whatever, they got to break down the door or whatever. So to have that wherewithal to, hey, let me prop this door open. But, yeah, that was insane to hear him talk about that.
Joining us now, ladies and gentlemen, is not from the NFL world. No, he's from the ice. 13-year NHL vet, Olympic gold medalist. The Olympics, all the conversation these days.
Oh, yeah.
Who's going, who's not, AJ? You see our cricket team?
Yeah, doing great, right? The big-time upset. How do we do that?
Eat shit, Pakistan. It's our game now.
Gotcha.
It's our game now. That's what I learned. I don't know what the rules are. Makes sense, though. Baseball?
Yeah, sure.
You know what it is?
Yeah.
Pretty much.
You seen our roster?
No.
Oh, you should take a look at our roster.
It's incredible.
It's
It's like their side gig. It's just a bunch of guys who work and like.
So it's Arena League guys.
Bingo. It's Arena League guys. Yes.
I love that.
Biggest upset in cricket history, they're saying.
Well, just wait until handball. Whenever we decide to fuck around with that sport, same thing that's happening in cricket's going to happen in handball, and everybody's going to be pissed off about it. You don't have any respect for handball. You don't have any respect for the athletes that are playing professional sports right now, that if they were to take 4 months and invest it in your sport, all of a sudden we got new highlights, new plays, and a new standard around it. That's what we're doing with cricket right now.
Boom.
Is Pakistan the best team in the world?
Pakistan, India is very good. I know that as
Aren't
well.
the games like 3 weeks long? Don't the games
can
just
be.
They at times.
Yeah, they changed it. This is kind of like a
7-on-7
TST.
Exactly.
This is TCT, the cricket tournament.
Yeah.
Okay, I like that. Quick action. And we just got to hit dingers, right? That's what we're trying to do?
Much more
Or split
Americanized.
wickets.
It's more Americanized.
As far as like quicker, it's not to AJ's point. It's like a 3-day, like old cricket is like 3-day event. This is like I think like 3 hours or something.
Yeah, USA ain't never going to win a 3-day game.
That's ridiculous.
Not win anything. Thank God it got better all of a sudden.
Yeah, no thanks.
Is this in the Olympics, cricket?
Oh. I don't know.
No.
Maybe.
I don't think so.
It's one of the most popular sports in the world. Probably.
Okay.
It's one of the most popular. In the most popular.
I live here, so I don't see a whole lot of it. But yeah, I do understand it's very, very popular.
Most watched.
What was it?
No shade at the game. I don't understand.
No shade at all.
I'm just saying, it's like saying soccer is the biggest sport on the planet. Yes, it is. I agree.
Well, how about whenever I think the soccer popularity conversation came up and you had a similar all right, and then
no.
Yeah,
I understand. Outside of the U.S., soccer is that's it. That's what people want.
And down in Cary, soccer was I mean, it was home run. They're filling up stadiums down there.
Oh yeah,
for these. It was the atmosphere was fantastic. But you said Messier could walk right through Ohio right now. You said,
no, not him.
Who's that little guy? Who's that little guy? That's what you said.
Ed Sheeran.
That's what you said. I do believe Messier's a dog. What a stud he is.
Yeah. Weapon.
Imagine him showing up at that TST.
One day.
Dude, that's like Nani's still. He's just not under contract. Like, he's going to sign with a professional team this year. He's just not under contract right now.
Yeah, that's the gimmick, I guess. Like the Hoosier Army, no, I'm not saying they cheated. Number 11 for their team, who was very quick, very fast.
Filthy.
Very good. Everybody on our team was like, that's a guy. Even the guys who were disrespectful to everybody were like, that guy's
good.
He's a free agent right now, about to sign a contract there in like a week. So that's not a bad little gimmick.
I saw the
No,
guy
for sure.
who Zidane headbutted for Italy in the World Cup
Marco
kick a
Materazzi?
nasty free kick.
Or was that for Inter?
He was on
Yes.
Inter, yeah.
He walked right by the set. Boy, did those guys have? They had a massive portable speaker, and they were just all business. I think they got their ass kicked in the game they played, but they
There was a 300-pounder out there that I was hoping we would play against.
was balling,
Was that
dude.
Dorman?
Yeah, he was a beast. though.
Villarreal.
House.
Joining us now is a man who's probably going to play in the soccer tournament next year and be fantastic at it because he's still training every single day as if he was a professional athlete. He's also still getting 90-minute massages and taking 90-minute Epsom salt baths every day, even though he is covering the NHL for the ESPN in a fantastic way. Ladies and gentlemen, in front of the program, PK Subban. Okay, so normally your shirt is an indicator for how you're feeling. Are you tripping balls right now? That's why you put the Pink Floyd?
No, one of my favorite. Hey, listen, Pink Floyd, when I made it to the NHL, Scott Gomez. Got to give a shout out to Scott Gomez. He taught me about the Rolling Stones, Pink Floyd, like all these bands that I would have never known anything about without hockey. So shout out to Scott Gomez for showing me Pink Floyd, another brick in the wall. We don't need no education. Love Pink Floyd.
Okay.
Big Pink Floyd guy.
Happy to hear that. Just want to let the world know, hey, I'm on board with Pink Floyd on this particular Monday. Let's talk about the Stanley Cup Finals. We're finally here. Who's going to hoist Lordo? Is it going to be McDavid and Draisaitl, or is this Edmonton Oilers team going to have to do something different to maybe get to the top? And what is McDavid's career? What about Kitchuk and the boys down in Florida? They started building a monster about 4 years ago. Back-to-back Stanley Cup Finals. They win Game 1. Bob stands on his head with 32 saves. Should we expect the same exact thing in Game 2? Game 2? How many Game 1 and Game 2? How many adjustments can be made? And what are your thoughts on where we stand here just hours before puck drop?
Well, I hope we don't expect the same start from the Florida Panthers in Game 2 because they weren't very good to start the game. They looked nervous. They looked human to me. This was the first time all playoffs where I look at the Florida Panthers, and if I'm the Edmonton Oilers, hey, listen, I'm coming out of Game 1 saying, yeah, we lost that game. We made 2 mistakes that cost us the game. We're going to be better in Game 2, but we see that the Florida Panthers, we can play with these guys. We play fast. We play with speed. It's going to be issues for the Florida Panthers. So Florida's got to start on time. Game starts at 8 o'clock. You got to be ready to play because Connor McDavid and company, they're coming. And by the way, you know their special team's going to get better. They had their chances. Bobrovsky, like I said in the pregame show, Conn Smythe guy. I picked Barkov, but if it ain't him, it's going to be Bobrovsky. And he showed once again that he's the guy back there that you still got to beat him. When it's all said and done, you get through Barkov, you get through Sam Bennett, you get through their whole decor, you still got to beat him, and he handled business for them. In the first 10, 15 minutes of that game, there's like 3 or 4 breakaways. It could have been 3 or 4 nothing. So for Edmonton, they can't get in their heads. They got to bring the energy and the juice in Game 2. That is a pivotal game. For me, Game 2, they get that win going back to Edmonton. It's a tough script for Florida Panthers. The series gets a lot tougher for them. So I think this is a big game for Edmonton. Huge game.
Barkov had 2 assists, obviously, dog. Bob has 32 saves. They both show up in a big way. Have to if you're going to get a win over these Edmonton Oilers. But it's the Stanley Cup Finals, AJ. It's never going to be easy. Go ahead, brother.
No, it's not. And PK, when I assume you've played against plenty of goalies that were standing on their head as Bob was in a huge moment like this, Game 1, the Stanley Cup Finals. What can you do? Just continue to dump rubber on the net as they continue to do it? It seemed like it, but nothing was getting through it. You just assume, hey, we keep firing and things are going to open up for us?
Okay, watch this. Keep playing. If you keep rolling these breakaways, look at what they're doing. Everything's along the ice. Everything's along the ice. Guys, you got to get that puck up. You're not beating them below. Listen, no one's beating them along the ice. I don't care who you are. He's the best goaltender. He and Shesterkin are the best 2 goaltenders in the world at taking away the low ice. You see there? You got to hit the net. You saw against the Rangers, they beat them up high a few times. You got to elevate the puck. Now, that doesn't mean you're going to score, but I would have to say there's almost 0 chance you're beating them along the ice. He reads plays too much. He tracks the puck too well. He's too quick. His lower body strength. He's explosive. And then he's got the mindset to make second and third saves. You got to get the puck up. They got to elevate the puck this game. They got to do that if they want to have a chance to beat them.
D-Bucks has a question for you, PK.
Yeah, I just want to know, after Game 1, because it seems like a lot of people are saying, you kind of just said it as well, like, hey, they were outplayed outside of Bob in net. Are you worried about that Florida pick now that you seen Game 1 unfold?
Okay, well, now let's talk on the Florida side. I just spent a lot of time talking to Edmonton. If I'm Florida is comfortable being in this situation. They should have taken advantage of the first 10, 15 minutes of that game. Game one, if I'm going to evaluate it, should have went Edmonton's way. But Bobrovsky stood on his head. He weathered the storm. And that's why you pay a goalie $9-10 million at that caliber, because he can steal a game. So let's give game one to Bobrovsky. Game two, the Florida Panthers, the second half of game one, took over the game. They eliminated the middle of the ice. They got in on their forecheck. They cycled. They went east-west. They wore down Edmonton's defense, and they chipped away at them. This was the longest it took for Florida to find their game in a playoff game this playoff. So for Florida, it's about finding their game early, and they will. You know Florida's going to be better in game two than they were in game one. So Edmonton's got to elevate. They got to be better, but they also have to execute on the special teams. They have to find a way to make a difference on the special teams. And that's just not about McDavid. That's other guys making smart reads. McDavid was unbelievable. I thought he was great in game one. He wasn't complaining. He took a few shots, whether they should have been called or not. He wasn't complaining. He's just got to keep doing his thing. He made some amazing plays in game one, and I know he's going to be better in game two for sure.
Good skating, McJesus. Good skating, McJesus.
Keep going.
Great skating.
Great skating. It's good skating out there. You know, just like in that soccer tournament, there was some shifts for guys where it was just running.
Mm-hmm.
They come to the sideline, me and Gumpy go running. Hey, that's good running.
run.
That's good running. Didn't touch the ball. Who cares? Put the pressure on him. McJesus will continue to skate and do his thing. Connor has a question about is there a little fuckery going on out there?
Yeah, PK, it feels as though this series is going to heat up a little bit after watching Evander Kane just feed Matthew Tkachuk a left hook as he was skating off the ice. What is that going to do for the Oilers? Do you think that sends a good message to them? Or is this one of those things where Evander Kane might have poked the bear and the Panthers are going to come out, grit in their teeth, pissed off because of those antics?
Well, listen, Florida's going to be challenged on whether they can make a difference on their power play. They're going to have to make a difference and keep them honest, or else Edmonton is going to take liberties. But I'll tell you this, both teams are good on the special teams. You're not helping your team. This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to play in the Stanley Cup final. One of those plays, guys, can cost you a Stanley Cup. So you got to toe the line. You have to be careful. And the refs are letting them play, but they don't want it to get out of control. The whole world is watching. This is the biggest stage. The refs have to do their job. And for the players, like I said, you got to be sneaky. If you're going to throw cheap shots, you better not let anybody see it. If you're going to do that on some of the best players in the world, you're going to get called. And you can't afford, I don't care if you're Edmonton or Florida, you do not want to give the other team extra opportunities and extra looks on the power play. Guys get confidence, they get other looks, it'll hurt you down the road in the series. So
PK,
you got to be disciplined.
PK, I'm not going to go back in time, but you said the punch to Marshawn's jaw was good hockey.
Right.
That's potentially your Bruins bias. That's
It smells like it.
potentially a
The
little bit.
game, that's the game within the game. How about the hit on Ekman Larson when Ekman Larson got cut open in the first period, right? Nobody said anything about that. It happens in every game, guys. It's a part of the game. So, in the Stanley Cup final, though, you got to take all of that. Whether it's a punch to the face, whether it's an elbow, not everything is going to get called. You're going to have to eat some. And at the end of the day, you have to shake these guys' hands. You get to pop champagne. You get to slide a ring on your finger. So that's where the focus needs to be in this series, as far as I'm concerned. You don't want to take any stupid penalties.
Hashtag hockey is awesome. Ty has a question for you.
PK, after watching one game, how important do you think home ice is going to be in this series? Just given the distance between the two cities, does this feel like the type of thing where both teams are going to hold serve at home until we get a Game 7? Or how do you feel about home ice as a whole in this series?
Florida's got to take care of home ice, because I really believe that the Edmonton Oilers, they're going to be a very difficult team to beat in this series at home. The energy in that building, the crowd, they're just salivating right now for this team to get back to Edmonton and get on that ice. And McDavid, if he's skating fast here in Florida, how fast is he going to be on better ice in Edmonton? Because the ice quality is better in Edmonton. He'll be flying, tic-tac-toeing, tap dancing, tiptoeing all over the Florida Panthers defense on home ice, and that crowd in that building will be rocking. So for Florida, they got to take care of home ice. You're right. Home ice does matter, I think, in this series. big time, specifically for Edmonton. They feed off the energy of the crowd. They get the adrenaline going. It's a tough place to hear. You're not getting the last changes. It's going to be a tough place to win. No question.
So far.
So far.
So you guys are so far down there.
Oh, yeah.
This is what I was telling Jeff Cameron and Breck Shea, because they live down in South Florida. Like, you need to get down here or whatever. I'm like, if I fly down there and fly back, I might as well just flew to London.
Yeah.
It is. That's
it ain't that far.
Far.
Pretty close.
Far down there. And then remember, we learned where Edmonton was, just a couple weeks ago. That's way up.
So far.
That's so far. Sleeping in the house in your own bed has got to feel good for the boys, I'd assume.
Yes, and you know what? For us being on the road, I love going to Edmonton, especially when the weather gets nice. It's a great place to be, lots of patios. I can't wait to get down there and feel the energy down there. I'll be at the Pint. I think that's the bar down there. We got the Elbow Room here. I was there last night. The night before, we got the Pint in Edmonton. So I'll be taking in the sights, coast to coast.
Hey, thank you for doing that for all of us, PK. Thank you. You're going to meet somebody.
Yeah,
you keep doing this, especially down there at the Elbow Room. Hey, I said at the beginning of the show, maybe the beginning of this entire conversation, McDavid's been in the league for how long now?
9 years. I think it's been 9 years now.
So
9 years.
They're tracking his first title with other greats on when he gets his title. Is this they don't win this? What is the conversation going to be about Draisaitl and McDavid? More so McDavid, you think, PK?
Okay, well, everybody wants to compare Mike McDavid to Wayne Gretzky or any other greats in any other sport. You know, there'll only ever be one Gretzky. There's a reason we call him the great one, right? Like, there's a reason why Michael Jordan's Black Jesus. Like, we don't touch them, right? We can compare, but they stand alone. What they've done for their individual sports will never be duplicated. Like, people saying that all I need to hear is Kobe Bryant say, hey, I don't get 5 rings without Michael Jordan. Like, that puts it in perspective. Well, it's the same thing with Wayne Gretzky and what he accomplished. Connor McDavid is our generation. He is the greatest player in our generation. He might be the greatest engineered hockey player of all time. Now, if you're asking me, I played against Sidney Crosby. I watched Sidney Crosby hoist 3 cups. Sidney Crosby, to me, is the best player in our generation. But Connor McDavid, until he gets that ring, I understand it. People want to put him on the greatness. Guys, we can't take anything away from this guy. What he does on a night-to-night basis, I have never seen another human play the game the way that he does. Like, it's never happened. People talk about Kyrie in basketball. McDavid, what he does on the ice, the difficulty is 10 times more difficult than what Kyrie does. And think about how amazing he is. Amazing. But McDavid's doing it on a blade. He's doing it 2 times faster than everybody else. He's big. He's strong. This guy is elite. He's the face of the game, and he should be. There's not one person on this planet that has played the game that cannot say that that guy isn't the greatest player in the world. So he already has that tag. I want to see him win a championship because he deserves one. He's that great of a player, but it's a team sport. This is why the Stanley Cup is so hard to win. It's a team sport, and we'll be tracking that over his career. But is this a must-win for him? I don't think so. You want me to call it the way it is? Florida's a better team. Florida's a better team than Edmonton. Right. They're a better team. They're a better team top to bottom. But when you have greatness like that, there's always a chance. And game 1, it was a lot closer than people think. 3-0. Don't look at that score. It could have been a completely different game, and I think tonight's going to be indicative of that. I think Edmonton's going to come out, play their best game in the playoffs. They're going to need to. And with Stuart Skinner holding down the fort, playing as well as he is right now, they have a chance. So for me, I'm excited to watch this game tonight. I think it's going to be one of the best games we've seen in a long time.
Hey, whenever you think about McDavid, a lot of people in the world don't know who he is. Obviously, hockey does, but
which is nuts. It's nuts to me. It's crazy.
I agree. I agree. He's way up there. He's way up there in Edmonton, which obviously Canada, massive hockey country. So whatever the case. Does he suck at interviews too? He doesn't really do much in interviews. Is that an accurate depiction, or they don't have him do much media? Because I feel like I know nothing about him other than when he's on the ice, he is phenomenal. He's like Scotty Scheffler in my eyes. Like, watching him do his sport is enough for him to be the guy, as opposed. But I think a lot of people say, like, is he a wet blanket? Is that what McDavid is like?
Well, hold on a second. It depends on who you're comparing him to. Hockey and the culture, it's, the players now, just now, the NHL is starting to blossom and open it up where we can see more personalities from the players. We're doing the show on, is it Amazon that's coming out?
Yep.
Or whatever it is, right? We're doing the show. So that exposure of opening the door to players, Connor McDavid's on social media. You look at Sidney Crosby. Sidney Crosby's not on social media. So, Connor McDavid has done a lot of things since he's come into the league that are tough. Like when you're that good and you're focused on being the greatest, it's very, very difficult to look at everything else. It comes naturally. That came naturally for me. It may not come naturally for Connor, but I'll tell you this. He has done an amazing job putting himself in positions to help promote the game, and I think it's going to continue to happen. The more that the league does, I think we're going to learn more about Connor McDavid, his personality, and who he is. And I think it starts with the Stanley Cup Final. This is the biggest stage. He's on it now. I think a lot of people are going to get to know him that didn't know him before. And along with the show and the different things we'll be doing with the NHL, I think people are going to get to know him. But you're right. Fans need to feel the players. They need to be able to connect with them. And the NHL is getting better at that.
And I think hockey players are old school throwback players, which I think right now, society's kind of a cyclical situation. Right now it feels like tough, non-prima donna, diva, hardworking.
None of that in hockey.
That's what I'm saying.
None of that's going on in hockey.
PK, but I think that's becoming like the more like that's what
we want to see.
That's what. And the ratings,
100%.
I think ratings greatest of all time. So it's like just like with Scotty Scheffler. Like a lot of people are like, could you pick a more boring face of golf? It's like it don't matter. You see him when he's playing golf, and it's like that's the greatest golfer on earth. When you watch McDavid play, and hopefully more eyes with the Stanley Cup Final will watch him play, you can't help but be hypnotized by the way that guy moves. And you're a guy who obviously has always had a personality, has brought a lot of eyes to the game. Have you seen the picture they put out for you for the point tonight? ESPN PR just promoted us. You got Steve, you got Messier, and then PK Subban in the fur coat Stanley Cup Final.
Damn.
7 p.m. on ESPN2 to promote the game. I can't wait to hear what comes out of your mouth, PK. Cannot wait to hear what comes out of your mouth. Last question here from AJ. Why'd they do that to you? Yeah. You look good. You look great. Blank ass.
Dude, it's unbelievable. Like, out of all the pictures, they picked the one with the red silver fox, fur coat on, the chain, the turtleneck. Unbelievable. I mean, I'm not going to hate on the picture. It's a great picture.
Yeah, you look great.
Great picture.
You look fantastic. Go ahead, AJ.
We got to put McDavid. I got to put McDavid in one of those jackets coming into the game. That'll help.
So that's what they did to Kirk Cousins. Okay, so this was Kirk chains. Started putting chains on him shirtless. He was absolutely jacked. He starts dancing on the plane. He starts doing his. He had the quarterback thing where they followed him around. So hopefully that'll kind of be the whole thing.
I don't know if you guys saw this or not, but at the All-Star game in Toronto, when McDavid won the whole thing, and I had to interview him, SportsCenter has that top 10 chain. And I put the chain on him, and he loved it. He was wearing the chain. He was rocking the chain. Nobody wants to talk about it. So Connor McDavid, he's already got a big chain. He got the SportsCenter top 10 chain.
Now, he won
the Chizang.
He won the McDavid Challenge, right?
Yes.
Wasn't that
always does?
It actually was. It was like we actually asked Connor McDavid to help us put together some electric events, and it turns out it's just his workout. Like that's what he does, and everybody, right? Isn't that what that was?
Well, I'll tell you. Listen, you guys are going to get me in trouble. Connor McDavid, he dominated the skills comp. I don't know how much he weighed in on it.
It was his.
I'm going to play Switzerland. Hey, I'm going to play Switzerland on this. I don't know how much he was involved in all of the events. I know he was involved. He wasn't the only one. There was a bunch of guys involved. So
yeah, well, okay. As long as there were some other thoughts, because the way I was hearing it was like, so this is McDavid's warm-up routine. Everybody else is going to be trying. And by the way, this is sick. Yeah. If he has social media, we need to be recording more of this
every time,
because every once in a while a player will do something for some bar or some company, and then it's just a bunch of pucks on the ice, and then there's one puck going through it, and then they'll start sending pucks at him, and they're controlling and dangling through all that. It's like, that's sick. Like, that should hit the internet. We should do that once a week so people can see how ridiculous everybody is. McDavid's like the filthiest of all time, right? Isn't that like his thing?
It doesn't matter what the drills are or exercises are. He's winning. He's winning. No one's beating him.
Last question here from AJ. PK.
PK, what's it like watching these games with Messier? I see you in your suite, fur coat and everything, and Messier's in there, and then you guys are doing all the intermission reports. What's it like? I bet there's a lot of hockey fans that pay a lot of money to sit there and watch some of these games with Messier.
Fly on the wall.
Oh, it's awesome. first, I have so much respect for Mess and what he's accomplished. So sometimes I got to pinch myself that I'm like, am I actually sitting here like watching a game with Mark Messier and hearing him break down the Stanley Cup Finals and hearing him talk about Connor McDavid when he played with the greatest player to ever play the game in Wayne Gretzky? It is surreal. It's pretty cool. But what's better is like to be able to talk to him and actually have him respect my opinion. I mean, I think that's actually pretty cool. When you think that the difference in age, like Mess is 62, I'm 35 years old, so there's a difference there. But to listen to him and get his perspective on the game and his immense, he's got so much history of playing the game at such a high level in the playoffs with different types of players. To listen to him break down what Connor McDavid's doing on the ice in Edmonton Oilers. Listen, I got to take the homerism out of it because he is a homer about Edmonton and New York, right? He's one in those two places. But the way he breaks it down, it definitely is super cool to do that. I love our team. Outside of Mess, obviously Mess is a huge deal everywhere he goes. But outside of him, Leaves, like we have a lot of fun doing what we're doing. And I think that's what shows on TV is that we're enjoying it and we're having fun. And I think when you do that, the audience has fun with you. So,
Yes.
It's definitely been a work in progress. Like when I got there, when I started ESPN, I'd only met Mess once to ask him for a picture. I'd never spoken to him, didn't know him. So what you're seeing now is something that we built over the past 2 years, right, is working together and getting to know each other. So it's definitely a lot of fun.
Well, the point starts at 7 o'clock tonight on ESPN2. We cannot wait to watch. We appreciate you for everything. And tell all the lads we say hello. Ladies and gentlemen, PK Subban.
PK.
Thank you, PK. Great work with you, Pink Floyd. We have breaking news out of the basketball world. Caitlin Clark still not on the Olympic team. But Dan Hurley is staying at UConn.
Wow.
Fucking go!
That is Darius J. Butler, UConn alum. Obviously jacked up. Back-to-back national titles was enough to keep Dan Hurley in UConn Husky gear for at least another year. He turns down a 6-year, $70 million offer from the Los Angeles Lakers, which would have made him one of NBA's 6 highest paid coaches. Woj had the bomb at 1:38 p.m. Eastern. Obviously, all eyes were on a press conference that was moved from noon to 2 in UConn, and now your coach stays, and the UConn Husky machine can continue to operate. The Dragon underwear is going to make its return to the March Madness run, and the UConn Huskies are business as usual.
Jacked up, man. Blues of Bloods, we continue to run. Obviously, back-to-back. Reign and repeated, back-to-back. Now we're trying to go back-to-back. Darren Hurley coming back. Obviously, a lot of cheese turned down, moving to LA. Didn't seem like the fit to me. I wasn't that worried, but I am excited now that Woj just dropped this bomb and he'll be back at UConn.
A little bit more information is coming out after a dogged pursuit of Hurley over past weeks. Lakers will regroup and resume bringing in candidates for interviews with hope of hiring a coach by draft, sources said. James
Borrego
is expected to remain part of the group, and Lakers could do their first formal interview with J.J. Redick. So Shams might be doing a little song and dance here as well, saying just like I said it would. Now, if you do the math out there in Los Angeles, $70 million deal is actually a $35 million deal immediately, let alone property taxes, sales taxes, and everything else in California, which is through the roof. So about $34 million, we'll say, over 6 years would have been $5.6 million a year. I assume the UConn Huskies are going to take this thing to $5.5 million if they haven't
at least
already, maybe $6 million if they haven't already, because that's the real contract after actual taxes kick in Los Angeles. So he's going to remain a Husky, and
let's go.
Huge.
Wow, college basketball keeps what everybody is saying, the greatest coach on earth in it. AJ, kind of surprising. It felt like he was going to LA. I appreciate the fact that Dan Hurley is a guy that wouldn't just get swayed by the bright lights and an opportunity. I assume this was a very cerebral approach for him on what he wanted, what he didn't want, how he wanted to go about doing things. Is the NBA the right fit? We heard Steven Jackson talk about other college coaches who weren't able to make the transition into the pros because of how they operate, how much money they're making. Dan Hurley had to have taken that all into account. Maybe the NBA's down the road, but it's not right now, AJ.
Yeah, I'm curious what, So obviously he was very serious in thinking about this, and we see everything's rescheduled and all the stuff going on. I wonder what the final thing was, like what he was looking for, that what would have made him take this job. I know it's not a money thing most likely. I'm sure that did play a factor, absolutely. But D-But, why do you think the Lakers were not a good fit for him, and what other team would be a good fit?
Yeah, hold on one second. Woj just reported, as swept away as Hurley became by the Lakers' courtship and vision for him, he ultimately couldn't walk away from a chance to make history and pursue a third straight NCAA title. Even before Lakers talks, Hurley already had a UConn offer to become one of the highest paid NCAA coaches, and those talks will continue. One of the highest paid. I think that becomes the highest paid through this entire thing. And a lot of college coaches have utilized professional contracts to leverage a new contract, but I don't think any person from UConn has ever said he doesn't deserve whatever the hell he wants.
Yeah, that's what I think. It was a leverage play, obviously, going out there. I would have been more concerned if this was like the Knicks. Obviously, they got a good situation going now, but if the Knicks offered him a job. But him being a Jersey guy, just not seeing him, it's not necessarily fit. Obviously, LeBron is at the end. We know what AD is, but like the NBA, it's ran by the players, and you're leaving, back-to-back championships at a great university, too. It's not like he's doing this at a mid-major. What's that?
Oh, UConn is a great university.
Outstanding university across sports. But Darren Hurley being there.
Which ones?
Basketball, men's, women's,
they're really good
soccer,
at baseball. They
lost
24-4 this weekend.
In baseball?
In baseball.
I didn't know that was possible.
Football. Yeah, only for UConn.
Well, anyways, congrats to Coach Hurley and to the UConn Huskies. He sticks around. I did watch a little bit of college baseball this weekend, the Super Regional Finals. That Clemson-Florida situation was fantastic. There was a pitcher for Clemson, I believe, who had an interesting name.
Oh, yeah.
We don't have to dive into all that right here, right now, but Titsworth was pitching.
Yeah, Titsworth
was pitching for Clemson yesterday. He was one of the relievers. He's 6'3", 230, and he throws gas.
Yeah.
Titsworth you'll get your money's worth when you're watching Titsworth do his thing, and that was certainly fantastic. But this game would go deep. We're talking 13th inning. We had a couple ejections. We had some managers getting kicked out. We had a dinger from a guy who would go on to spike his bat in the Super Regional Final. 9-9, 13th inning in front of the home crowd. Do your dance. Do your dance. Umpires weren't happy.
No, not at all.
They said that was a bit disrespectful to the game. How could you not do that right there? On your own logo, not somebody else's logo.
No.
On your own logo. If you hit a dinger in the Super Regional Final in the 13th inning at home, how do you not lose your mind? I don't know. But I guess the umpires earlier in the game said everybody needs to be a little bit more respectful to what's going on. So one of the managers for the Clemson team comes out and goes, "What are you even meeting about? Are you meeting about him spiking the ball?" And the umpire said, "Yeah, we are. You need to stop meeting about that." Boom. He gets ejected. Bakic is suspended the next 2 games, which obviously rolls into Omaha. And then there was another manager on there that was doing it. And inevitably, Florida comes back and wins the game in the bottom of the 13th. A lot of drama in the baseball world this weekend. What a win by Florida. What a time for college baseball. And is Florida the real deal? A lot of unknown names participating in baseball games this weekend in my eyes, Ty.
Yeah, they're
Evansville took on.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, if you look at the teams who are going to Omaha, I think we have a lot of chalk, a lot of good teams. Florida wasn't as good this year as they typically are, but they have a guy who's going to get drafted in probably top 5, maybe Jack Toney. I don't know if you remember. He's the guy who he pitches and hits. He's very good. But yeah, I mean, this is where college baseball, especially, if you want, it's much different than the MLB, obviously, because they're using the metal bats, and you will see a lot more scores that are, 13-12, 10-11, 24-4 in the case of UConn.
You guys were on the 4 side.
Yeah.
Dan Hurley actually almost went to the Lakers after seeing that.
He did.
He was thinking about staying at UConn. Then he took another call from the Lakers. Then he saw your baseball team just lay a massive egg and embarrass the entire.
Supposed to be there.
Well, that's what Dan Hurley said.
Yeah.
Amen.
Good run, boys.
We know that
Good
now.
run, boys.
Anyways.
But in the end, it was the umpires kind of stole the show, because obviously that whole deal happened where a guy who hits, who knows what that guy's going to do in terms of if he's going to play in the majors. That was by far the crowning achievement of his athletic career. Doesn't get much bigger than that, with a spot in Omaha on the line. And then in the North Carolina and West Virginia game, the home plate umpire, West Virginia, is up there. It's in the bottom of the 8th inning, 1-run game, and kid checks his swing, definitely does not swing. home plate umpire doesn't appeal to first base, just rings the kid up, changes the, kind of like the trajectory of the game and everything. So a lot of people were saying, hey, while the baseball was great, this is just another instance of umpires kind of taking over the show and stealing the moment from a bunch of college kids.
Let's just talk about the state of officiating everywhere.
Yeah,
Pick it up. Pick it up.
Yeah.
Pick it up.
Got to be better.
From TST to the Super Regionals to the NBA to the WNBA. We're not even, obviously, we don't have any thoughts on it, but the WNBA refs suck.
The worst.
Are the Olympic refs good?
I doubt it. Well, we don't know.
Olympic rules.
More physical brands.
Yeah, does help.
It is a more physical brand, yeah.
I can't wait to watch Olympic basketball and learn everybody's name.
Oh, yeah.
I can't wait to do that.
Yeah.
That's going to be fantastic. Belmont Stakes, big winner, former baseball guy, Mr. Worth's horse. Dornock gets a big win. His hair with the top hat, I don't know if everybody saw. Worth had a Zach Brown flat
He's an
bill
awesome looking
hat on with his hair, tats suited up, wins the Belmont. Congrats to him. Way to run, Pony Dornock. Way to run.
Unbelievable.
All right, from all of us to all of you, thank you for allowing us to do this every day. We'll be back tomorrow. Some people are pissed about that. We'll be back. We got more dumb shit to say. Hopefully not the dumbest, but certainly near there. Be your friend, tell a friend something nice. It might change their life. Goodbye! Right on screw.
Yep. Dinger, like that Clemson kid.
There's a video of Jason Worth playing in a men's league.
Oh, yeah.
Game.
Awesome. Awesome.
And he hits this ball, I don't know, maybe 600 feet. It's the longest home run in the history of home runs.
Yeah, there's a couple of those. Like when it hits, the sound of the college, and then the reaction from the crowds. Those college baseball crowds.
It's incredible.
After COVID?
Awesome.
That was like
Ole
the
Miss,
first one.
Yeah. It was Ole Miss. The guy hits a dinger, and we just see beers just being tossed in the crowd. The baseball energy for college is awesome. Now, it's going to be impossible for me to follow along with, but like whenever it gets to this time of year, great to kind of watch.
That's why Omaha is sweet, because it although it is a neutral site, like no matter who's playing in those games, it'll literally be split right down the center with which two teams are playing, and the atmosphere is amazing.
So that ball's gone. I mean, especially from this angle, that ball is gone. Who's this?
Jason Worth.
See ya.
Oh, jeez.
That looked like a 3/4 swing too. Like his right arm didn't even really get through it.
Pretty much, yeah. You're playing in this guy was an all-star in the majors, signed a contract for over like $120 million, and you got a guy throwing you a 65-mile-an-hour curveball. He's gonna get the job done.
I bet you that's how some of those guys felt in the TST.
Oh,
like
yeah.
You saw Grella. So Grella, really high-level player, like legitimately always has been. You saw him through the weekend get like more comfortable and like stare guys down, and then he started with those gold boots. It was like you start seeing him start to like remember, like who he is and everything like that. I assume Worth sees the first pitch. He's like, yeah, this is BP.
Yeah.
Okay, this is B. Oh, that's his curveball. Okay, that thing doesn't move much. All right, so we either got a hanging curve or a 72-mile-an-hour BP here. And gone. We are out of there. Congrats on winning the horse race too, pal. Mr. Wonderful is going to buy TikTok.
Huge. Need that.
Serious? You serious about that?
I think so.
It's going to have to get a lot of money. Mr. Wonderful.
Who's backing him?
Well, I know he is a billionaire. Lori would be great for this one. Maybe get that on QVC. Maybe get that thing moving. He could potentially do that. But I think he's able to find the money. Allegedly, from what I've been told, there's a lot of money currently in a lot of these VC and these funds because there has potentially been a hesitancy to spend a lot over the last few years for whatever reason. I'm not going to point out whatever it is. So I assume if he needed to go get the money, he would be able to find it. But it's all about whether or not the TikTok people are going to sell it or not. I guess that's the big conversation piece because the government now, from our understanding, and we're live on TikTok Live right now, from our understanding, the government has given them a runway till about the end of the year to be able to sell this. And if not, it's going to be banned from the United States of America.
Yeah. And I can't imagine that anyone's going to let that happen with how popular TikTok is.
With the entire generation of people on TikTok.
Legit.
Which is college, every human basically on TikTok. That's just going to, that'll get loud if that ends up.
What if they call their bluff? If they call their bluff and be like, all right, yeah, cancel it in the U.S.
Well, I think that's what the owner from China is currently doing. Like, yeah, we'll see. All right, every kid in college and in high school is on it. You're just going to piss them all off? Is that what you're going to do? And the government's like, you banned our shit in your country, right? Yep, we're banning your shit in our country. That's kind of how this goes. It's like, well, good luck explaining that to people. And Mr. Wonderful said, boy, do I got an offer for you. I can find how many billions you need. well, it's worth about this, but since you guys are fucked, we're going to need about 2x that.
Yeah.
Mr. Wonderful's like, I'm going to need residuals.
Yeah.
On every single one of this entire. He always offers the worst deals of all time.
Yes.
In this particular case, I think he's going to need to make best deal of all time because they are in what we like to call a prime position. Speaking of, Mercedes Lewis is back in the NFL for his 19th year.
Yeah, big dog.
He is a member of the Chicago Bears. Officially, he has signed back with Chicago. Good for Caleb Williams. Good for Roma Dunze. Good for Eberflus. Bringing back a tone setter, a culture setter, a guy that helps the locker room, helps the team. Obviously, Aaron has massive respect for Big Dog, loves Big Dog. AJ, I think you feel the exact same way with that defensive culture that Eberflus has set. And now you got this Big Dog back in the locker room. I think the Chicago Bears potentially win some games next year. Now, NFC North, very difficult. But I think they'll have a first season with Caleb Williams where they go, good year, let's build in for 2. That's how I feel, AJ.
Yeah, and Mercedes, and I think even Aaron had said it during one of his appearances on here where Mercedes, we know what kind of threat he is in the red zone and throwing the ball to him. He's 9 feet tall. You can see him from anywhere. But they legit sometimes would he's basically man up blocking one-on-one with TN and outside rushers. Like, you don't have many tight ends anywhere that you feel safe doing that. I feel like Mercedes is still doing that going into his 19th year.
Yeah, 19 years is a long-ass time.
A long time. Anywhere, but anywhere. Outside of kicker, maybe. We've seen a few be productive
kicker.
at that part. But 19 years, Big Dog, love that for him. And to your point, like him on like a 3rd and long, just putting him kind of in that C area to be an extra offensive lineman, extra athletic guy to give you a chip, and obviously a red zone threat as well. But yeah, the Bears have done everything right this offseason, it feels like, to set up that number 1 pick, Caleb Williams, to be successful.
8.5 is their win total this year.
Yeah, I think they get there. Cool.
So tough.
8, that's 9 wins. NFC North.
Yeah,
we'll sleep on it. All right, we'll be back tomorrow. We can't thank you all enough for allowing us to do this for a living. Monday Night Raw tonight in Toledo, Ohio.
Here we go.
That's 8 p.m. Eastern on USA, 8 p.m. on ABC's the NHL Game 2 of the Stanley Cup Finals between the Florida Panthers and Edmonton Oilers. Obviously, tomorrow we got the NBA. We got great life. We can't thank you enough. AJ, great work over there, pal.
Boy, Hawker.
Great work by you and the boys, man. Fun to watch. You guys are really fun to watch.
Hey, this thing here.
And yeah, can you lift it?
I'm just dragging it, here it is. This is the one. Yeah, midway through that ball right there.
I started clapping. We were sitting right there. I started clapping. I was like, yeah, absolutely. If you're going to miss it, let's miss it. Let's try to kick it out of the stadium. We don't want to have a little drag.
That was sweet.
Yeah, so, people are saying biggest miss in the history of TST.
There was a corner kick that was pretty bad as well.
Yeah, but it wasn't a shot. That was a cross. So I think we have 2 different potential buckets of stuff.
I thought you were trying to boomerang it.
Yeah.
Bring it back into
over
the stadium.
press box, back around.
Wayne just didn't catch it.
Yep.
So I can't really lift my foot up right here as if I'm kicking because everything in my quad hurts like shit. And kicking positions, soccer positions, the hip flexor is, that is the one.
At least someone in Raleigh took that ball home.
So, yeah. All right. Okay, I did leave the stadium. People were saying, I was pumped it went that far. After I saw that TST had a version from the ground, where just like that Worth home run, where they just turned and it went into the sky.
Yeah, it was nuts.
And it got lost in the sky, and I was like, still got it. As I'm halfway into that thing, literally just feel it, and then boom. So I'm happy it still went that far, but it was nowhere near the net.
The first one you sent that was a near miss, I think the guy who ate that went home in a body bag.
There were some real rocket launchers, though, around that tournament.
Every warm-up, somebody was getting belted with a shot every time.
With the way they sit, it's like perfect height for if you miss high.
Pay attention, people.
Oh, yeah.
You got to pay attention when you have 15 guys taking shots on goal for 20 minutes. And the guy,
20 minutes? I don't know about that.
300 people behind you not even watching. It was like, you better keep your eyes peeled.
Coach Tony Meola listed off some things about our team, that he explained to his wife who asked, how's it going? And they're all things that obviously lay out a team that's not supposed to win in soccer.
Sure.
The way we are all. And then the last one was like, we don't warm up. Like, we go to this warm-up field before we walk to the field. And every team that we were playing had an organized warm-up.
Oh, yeah.
A full-on
dynamic warm-up.
15, 20-minute dynamic. They're running all over. They got passes happening. Goalies taking shit. We just literally just walk through their warm-ups pretty much. Hey, how you guys doing? And then as they finish, they got a good lather, a good sweat. They walk by us to walk in and say, our guys are literally just tying their shoes Then we walk into the stadium. You got 8 minutes in here. I was like, all right, that's enough.
Sounds good.
That's all we need in there. Tony's like, our team refuses to. We don't warm up, but we win. So we're just going to keep doing
We
that.
did that game one. After game one, we just said, whatever we did, let's do the exact opposite.
We knew the Reggae Rovers were going to beat us game
Good
one.
squad.
In this particular office, I appreciate in the stable, the boys did not think they were going to lose the Reggae Rovers that first game. So there's a lot of anger and tension and everything. It was like, boys, we don't even know what the fuck. We don't even know each other's names. Reggae Rovers are a bunch of fucking duck. They were. Reggae Rovers would go on to be a great team.
Yeah.
And I enjoyed watching everybody play. I appreciate it. But yeah, midway through that free kick, snap, ball, gone. I'm out of here.
That's also when we knew that you guys were going to have a shot, was the night game the next night when you played Cincinnati, coming off that loss. Because, there's a kid that me and Connor were talking to down on the sideline who's one of the ball boys or something, and he, had eyes on everything. He knew all about the tournament. He was like, Cincinnati's really good. And then you guys beat the shit out of him. It was like, okay.
Well, Cincinnati looked very good against Burnley.
They
Burnley,
did.
not too bad. And shout out to J.J. Watt.
Yeah.
He played a lot out there.
Absolutely.
J.J. knew that every player on our team was trying to make him, too. Like, all the Arena League guys were like, on the field with fucking J.J. Watt at the same time, gotta cook this guy.
Yeah.
And every one of them, waited for J.J. to get closer. And J.J. was basically just walking at him.
Yeah,
He charged a few of them.
Yes,
he just
he
charged
did.
at him.
He went knee. He was trying to go knee to thigh on Big Darren.
Aggressive.
Yeah, it was cool. And listening to them chit chat about trying to, and I FaceTimed JJ afterwards and let the boys do their little shit talk. But it was a fun experience down there. We have some more breaking news out of the NFL. Mike Tomlin has signed a 3-year extension through 2027 with the Pittsburgh Steelers. The consistency of the Steelers in the head coaching position continues and moves on. We're in a whole new era of Pittsburgh Steelers football. Mike Tomlin's still there. How many years would this be if he was the coach through 2027? We'll do some quick math. How long was Bill Cowher there? How long have the coaches remained as an average as a head coach for the Pittsburgh Steelers? Has to be more than any other team in the history of professional sport. That is a massive piece of the Rooney puzzle, is when you find the right one, let's go ahead and hang on as long as we can. Tomlin is the perfect depiction of the Pittsburgh Steelers. He's in the community. He's beloved. He's going to have to win a playoff game very soon, but this year could be the year, Tony.
Through 27, I think it's either 21 or something like that. I mean,
long.
So I think Noel was 69 or something like that, and then Cowher they won in 2005. Then he was another year or two. So yeah, I think like 21 or something like that. Consistency is key at the head coaching position, at the quarterback position. We have zero consistency right now at the quarterback position since Ben Roethlisberger left, and we are now in that quarterback purgatory where we are now trying to find a quarterback, and you don't want to also have to try to find a head coach at the exact same time. I am completely fine with Coach T getting a 3-year contract extension. It's awesome. We need that consistency until you find the quarterback moving on. Hopefully that helps with Artie Smith going forward as well. I'm happy with it.
Congrats, Coach Tomlin. Seems like he's got a guy, too, this weekend. We saw it.
You might have found your quarterback out there in Pittsburgh. Had B. Marsh calling my, hey, come hit a shot. No hesitation. See, okay.
Brandon Marshall, obviously born in Pittsburgh, back in town.
I respect it.
For a fundraiser. Russell Wilson was sitting front row, feet on the wood. I'll support. B. Marsh says, we need you to make it 3. He almost gave it a universe ball. He said, you make it 3. Maybe the Steelers will win another Super Bowl. Missed the first one, gets the second one. Give me that.
Boom.
Splash.
Good looking jump shot.
Not a bad jump shot, but also cold in sweats on the side. First one was just a feeler. Brandon Marshall goes, you can take another one, obviously. Take another one. If he misses that second one, obviously we're all alarmed.
Yeah, it's tough. Good,
Instead he buries it. He's going to be able to bounce back. That's mental toughness. You're going to need that in Pittsburgh, Russ. All right. From all of us to all of you, you're the greatest people on earth. Thank you so much. If you could, though, this is me asking for help. If you see a quote from me on the internet that is clearly something I didn't say, people are thinking they're all real now because what I have said in the past has led people to believe that I'm willing to say anything. And that's 100% my fault. But if you see some shit that's clearly not true, don't be scared just to drop a, he never said that.
He never said
that. That'd be great. And I'm very thankful. I fucked up for all of us, but we'll continue to move along. And we'll continue to be the sports stooges that try to celebrate the hell out of sport. All sports, except for one. Ladies and gentlemen, be a friend, tell a friend something nice. It might change their life. We're in this thing together. Team on me, team on 3. 1, 2, 3, team. Goodbye.